Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of The Random Show with your host, Agostinho Zinga, and I hope you are doing well. Wherever this random show may find you, I hope you are doing swimmingly. How am I? All good, all things considered. I cannot lie. All good, all things considered. This is a random little flash one. I should have done this a bit earlier, but I've been busy with loads of things. But I thought I'd quickly jump on here and get some things off my chest, and obviously, provide you guys with some of the news that you know me well for. For those of you that are going to be joining later on in the chat, make sure that you are smashing the like button down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. And all that malarkey is all there for you. If you enjoy the show and I earn your like, then make sure you do that before you leave at any time during the show, because I'm not expecting everybody to stay here forever and ever, because I know we all have lives, innit? I know we all have lives. Quick one before I begin. I went out to the flipping store earlier on and did a bit of grocery shopping, which ended up having costed me and a silly amount, because the world is what it is. Everyone kind of knows what's going on with groceries these days. But I decided to just do what I don't normally do and grab something that wasn't on my list. I'm usually quite methodical with the things that I know I want to buy. I kind of want to be in and out. I don't like hanging around fucking I know some people like to peruse supermarkets and hang around and see what's there and just check out what's in every aisle and whatnot. Me personally, I have my list. I just attack it from the top to the bottom, cross the shit off. If something's missing, I just take that as a sign I'm not meant to have it. I just keep it going. You know what I mean? I don't even try to look for alternatives sometimes. If the one thing that I actually want isn't there, I just skip and just continue on. Well, today was a bit of a freak event because I just grabbed something spontaneously, right? That kind of called out to me. I was walking down the cheese aisle or something, and I saw this lovely little bottle of fermented beetroot juice, right? You see this? Fermented beetroot juice. I saw this on the shelf. I thought, you know what, this looks really good. I don't know why, but I wanted something refreshing, wanted something semi-healthy, and I thought, you know what, this will be something I could just drink on the way home after a good supermarket sweep. As most of you will know, going to the supermarket can be very stressful, very hard on your joints, and can break your back. So sometimes giving yourself a little refresher and a little treat at the end is a nice way to cap off you kind of traversing through those kind of hellish aisles to grab your groceries. I bought the flipping beetroot juice. I came home, forgot to drink on the way back because it was fucking raining, so I just rushed back home. Then I tried to pop it open to drink, and when I gulped it, I was shocked to discover that it's actually beetroot juice. it's actually fermented beetroot juice, I was shocked to discover that what it actually says on the label is what it actually is. It's actually fermented beetroot juice. So it wasn't what I thought it was. I thought it'd be some like sugary beetroot juice type of thing, but it's actually just beetroot been fermented into a juice, right? So it tastes kind of gnarly. So now I'm not really drinking it, but I'm also thinking what I can do with it, and I'm probably gonna just chuck it in a shake when I make one of my green juices. It's probably gonna turn it fucking purple or something, but I'm gonna just, or maybe it'll turn it brown or something. I don't know what it does when you put green. Yeah, probably it'll turning it brown, but either way, I'm gonna chuck it into one of my shakes when I do make it, just to kind of give it a little bit of a pep and to kind of squeeze all that natural, fermented beetroot nonsense out of it. But yeah, I bought it thinking it was a nice tasty drink, and when I gulped it, it was fucking disgusting. Or maybe I'm meant to actually drink this. This is what it is. Maybe it's so disgusting because it's actual beetroot juice and it's not been touched with any sugars. Because if I read on the side, even though it's fucking in Polish, I think, is it Polish? Yeah, it's a Polish specialities. Even though it's a Polish beverage, it does say here on the label 100% natural nego. Ooh, that sounds a bit racist, isn't it? Right? It says natural in Polish is natural nego. Okay, cool. It's like it's just how it's written. It's written like natural, as in natural, and then nego at the end, natural nego. Big up my Polish man with their fucking built-in racism. I love it. But yeah, so maybe I might have to just drink this as is, straight, no chaser to the fucking face, and then I'll be where I need to be. But either way, fermented beetroot juice flipping drink didn't work the way I thought it was gonna work. You know what I mean? But what can we do? We live and die by these decisions, and it is what it is. Dig juice, yeah. Imagine natural dig juice. I don't need any rhinos. I just take a couple of swigs of this fermented beetroot juice, and I'm going all day long. I mean, I'll be fucking Brian Callen out there if I drink this shit, mate. I'll be fucking Brian Callen tackling anything in sight. You get me? Anyway, so as we can run onto this, yeah. Big up Austin Casey. Thank you for joining us. It's not gonna be super long, just a couple of hours because I've got to jet off. But I thought I'd just quickly jump on here and update you on a couple of things. Dylan B says there's a whiskey in Japan called Black Nigger. Yeah, I know about that. I know about Black Nigger. Make sure you only use the K's in the chat, mate. I don't want you to get fucking shadow banned. Be careful writing that name in my chat. You know what I mean? The Mama Susan or whoever replaced Mama Susan might come in and give you the fucking shadow ban of your fucking life. But yeah, I'm very aware of the Nicker brand. I was told that quite often. When I was getting into my whiskeys, I had a little whiskey phase, and a lot of people were coming up to me saying, "Oh, you do know there's a Japanese whiskey?" It's like, yeah, I know. It's really expensive as well. So, okay, I get it. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, moving on. Quickly get through this topic. So, number one thing to talk about, right? I was watching a little bit of the XQC and Ethan Klein debate, and it was a lot to get through. It was a lot to get through, right? It was a lot to get through. I'm not going to lie. It was difficult to get through it. But the interesting thing about the SQC and Ethan Klein debate has been all the things that's happened before. Because I wasn't aware. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I wasn't aware that the reaction... I wasn't aware, number one, that XQT was a reaction channel guy. I thought he just live streamed. I guess he does do the same thing. He does probably live streaming and reactions. But obviously reactions are things that can kind of get you quite viral and get you quite famous. But I wasn't aware that these reaction channels, some of them, are just doing this thing where like they'll react to somebody's amazing video that they spend a lot of time doing. They'll then copy the title of the video and sometimes use the same thumbnail and then put that up on fucking on YouTube. And sometimes if you're the bigger streamer, you end up stealing, quote unquote, the views of the person's video, especially if you do it so soon after they publish, right? Sometimes it's within the hour. But first, the most thing that kind of worried me, I was surprised about, was just the fact that they copy the titles and the thumbnails and just kind of download them and just put their face over them and just kind of re-upload it. I was like, fuck, man. These guys are making millions doing the fucking bare minimum. Then I thought, then obviously when XQC came on to speak to Ethan Klein, I was very taken aback by like how dumb he is. Not like in a bad way, like not everyone's blessed with fucking intelligence and smarts and whatever it may be. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I was very surprised about how dumb he is comprehension wise, like the way he kind of gets to, the way he forms his arguments, the things he thinks about when he gets, you know, or the responses he gives when he's backed into a corner. It was just very startling to see. I was like, fuck, dude, like you're meant to be one of the top dudes in this space and you're legitimately like dumb. And then of course, one of the standout clips of the video of the fucking interview they did, I think it was like a few hours long. I forgot how long it is exactly, but it's on H3's channel at the moment. You can check it out if you want, the debate between XQC and Ethan Klein. The really interesting thing about him was this little scene when Ethan Klein basically, you know, challenged, you know, I don't know, just says something to him and he just responds in a weird way. But I thought this scene kind of encapsulates just how much of a car crash that whole entire debate or interview was in the end. No one really got any conclusions, no resolutions were found. It was just absolute horror show. This clip here is fucking incredible.
People would rather watch me full screen cam do the fucking worm
than
watch your prime,
bro,
watch your
do
prime
it for
content.
a week. Do a week of no reaction content and see how many fucking views you get. Oh, he's crying in the corner. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, that's content, man. It's original content at least. Yes, do that, bro. Dude, do a week.
Fucking love it, man.
Bro,
this is the most money you've had in the past fucking 4 years, bitch.
It's awesome. Do a...
People would rather...
So, you saw that, right? Very, very interesting. Number one, the way that he does the worm, I've never in my life seen anybody do a worm like that. In my life, I've never seen anybody in my entire life when they say, oh, I'm gonna go do the worm, because usually it's something that you see people bust out at fucking house parties when everyone's drunk and shit. I don't think I've ever seen somebody in my entire life do a worm like that, where he's basically splayed out on the floor flat, then he brings his knees like towards his chest and then kind of moves his way forward that way. Like, don't get me wrong, anatomically he probably looks more like a worm the way he's doing it now, but it's such a footy, strange way of doing the worm. Like, he literally has his face on the ground and his ass up, like he's ready to get fucking drilled. It's like insane the way his fucking brain works. He legitimately may have worms in his actual brain, but he's able to process that information. It was pretty startling to see that this is how this guy's brain fucking works. Like, I've only got used to his fucking voice and the way he speaks, right? And his accent and whatever it may be, and that kind of like, you know, machine gun fire way that he speaks only recently. And that's taken me a lot of time, kind of, you know, I guess over time, if you watch enough of his content, you can kind of get what he's saying. But apart from that, God almighty, mate, like, the guy is legitimately redacted, but he's also incredibly, incredibly fortunate that he's able to make a ridiculous living doing the bare minimum where he just basically reacts to people's content, doesn't actually provide much commentary. Again, that's the other thing too to say to this world that I was startled by. I didn't know this was a thing. These guys take pride in the fact that they don't actually add much commentary to their reactions. Sometimes you'll stand up mid commentary and go to the toilet for like 10 minutes and then come back as the video is still playing, and then that'll be uploaded as a fucking thing without any of the clips taken out. And I was watching it thinking to myself, fuck man, this is, now I kind of understand why people get annoyed at like some people when, you know, people like this, you know, then start arguing about hard work and about how hard they work and how hard their life is and all this malarkey, when it's like the average person will probably never ever get the opportunity to make what XQC makes streaming. Cool, that's all well and good, but it's the fact that he doesn't recognize how lucky he is and isn't, you know, out here kind of, and it's kind of out here maybe shoving it in people's faces, the fact that he does the bare minimum and is okay with it, because at the end of the day, his fans are the ones that are maybe more to blame than him, because he's just providing the content, and if they want to watch it, they want to watch it. But if there's an audience for it, then he's obviously going to keep making it. So maybe his fans should be held more to an account than him. But it's just the attitude around it that's a bit startling. And it's a really interesting thing, dynamic-wise, to see them two talking, because a part of me wonders, is it very difficult not to be jealous of somebody like an XQC if you're Ethan? Ethan has been involved in the culture wars, cancel culture. He's been involved in, you know, YouTube drama, beef in general. He's constantly putting himself and his staff on the line with his fucking crazy, horrible hot takes. You know, getting sponsors kind of pulling out of the show. All this stuff is done because he has a point of view, right? Because he actually has a perspective on the world. However ill-informed he might be, however redacted you might think he may be, he has an actual opinion, right? And because he has an opinion, he's constantly kind of, you know, dodging, you know, fucking landmines everywhere. And, you know, because he kind of has some level of intelligence in that regard, it's kind of, you know, it's sort of like a bit of a prison when you're that, I guess, woke or aware. You kind of always want to share your thoughts, and you always kind of feel like you can change the world with your ideas and your fucking live streams and podcasts, which is fucking ridiculous, but still you feel that way. But then XQC kind of knows exactly what he is. He knows his niche. He knows his audience. He knows what he does well, and he just lays in on it. Now, it's pretty horrible, the content. It's not the greatest. He doesn't, you know, he's not the most enjoyable person to listen to with the way his voice inflection works and whatever it may be. And the content isn't that great, but people love it and they lap it up. So I wonder, if you're an Ethan Klein, will that make you feel jealous? Would that make you feel a bit of envy? Are you pissed off? Is it just the game is the game? Like, how does that make people feel? Because having seen some of these reactionary channels out there, I'm thinking to myself, fucking hell, I've been doing everything wrong these days, mate. These guys like him, the Sniper Wolves and shit, they literally just sit there and do they don't even talk that much. They might say, oh my God, or like, you know, make some faces and shit for the thumbnails, but they hardly add anything to these videos and they just re-upload them. It's legitimately one of the most insane things I've seen in terms of a little micro economy. But yeah, the debate itself was a fucking waste of time. If you want to watch it for just the entertainment and the lulls in the background, it's good to watch. But God almighty, man, it was really, really, really surprising to see how dumb XQC was. Because I guess, from my opinion, I think if I was him and I did the stuff that he did, I guess I'd have a couple arguments in my back pocket. like a couple, like even though I know what I'm doing is like technically bad, I would have some reasons that I'd have some, I'd have some rationale behind my decisions, right? I'd have some opinions on how I think what I'm doing isn't that bad. That's what I'd actually try and do. But he didn't have any. He didn't really have any. He didn't really provide any bit of pushback. He kind of crumbled, then started to go to, insults and talking about money. Whatever guys, especially guys, I think it's probably the same with women, maybe with looks. When dudes start to mention money, they lost the argument. So he started mentioning money and shit. That obviously lost the plot. But it's hard as well because I do get some sympathy for XQC because with Ethan Klein, he looks like on paper, he's not obviously, but he looks like such a keyboard warrior, right? He looks like such like an incel-y keyboard warrior, the way he looks with a neck beard and the fact that he's fat, even though he's lost a lot of weight, he's got that look about him. It's hard if you're debating him to take him seriously as a dude because you just want to slap him, right? That's your instant reaction. You just want to punch him in the face. But unfortunately, with somebody like Ethan, you actually need to debate him properly. Like you actually need to, restrain from using any fucking crazy swear words, restrain from any crazy insults, and just actually attack the merits of his points or the merits of his arguments. And that way maybe you can win. But I understand if you're an XQC looking across on the screen and seeing somebody like an Ethan trying to sun you, trying to basically talk down on you, trying to make you look dumb, and you obviously obliging and make yourself look even worse, it's very difficult to kind of, take a deep breath and just approach it in a somewhat, well-adjusted manner, whatever it may be. But I thought Ethan Klein did a good job personally. He does usually sometimes get emotional in these debates, but I thought he tore XQC apart with fucking ease. I don't think it was much of a challenge. And yeah, man, it got even embarrassing when Healer came onto the stream as well. That got even more embarrassing because essentially you had the complete, contrast of streamers and personalities. One guy who's kind of okay being the position that he's kind of in, built a bit of a legacy, has obviously got a growing family, working with his friends. And then you got XQC there kind of on his own in this big mansion, just recently divorced, trying to argue why him making reactionary clips of people's hard work on YouTube and putting them up with the same thumbnails and titles is somehow good work. So it was a strange interview. It made me laugh. I cringed. I barfed. But in the end, the content was fucking golden. But yeah, that worm was one of the weirdest worms I've seen in my entire life. Honestly, in all the years I've been on this earth, I've never ever seen somebody do a worm like this in my life. I've never seen it.
Do a week of no reaction content and see how many fucking views you get. Oh, he's crying in the corner. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, that's content, man. It's original content at least. Yes, do that, bro.
And then grab these balls. Oi, look at that. Bad boy. Grab these balls. Bad boy XQC. Grabbing these balls. And what people are saying in the chat, XQC taps into a way bigger international network. I think that's why he has so many. Oh, that's true. Good point. Why did I not think about this? Uche is so smart. I don't know why I didn't think about that. That's very true because he's Canadian, right? Or whatever, right? And then I'm assuming because of the Canadian connection with it being French, that's probably international. But yeah, in general, that makes a lot of sense why he probably taps into that. They probably start off taking it seriously, then they get lazy when they make it. Yeah, for sure, Z. No, there's aspects of it of also that I just didn't know that existed. For me, it's just the idea of reacting to somebody's fucking video, but then just grabbing the fucking title and using the same thumbnail. Like, that is fucking wild. That's not even, I don't know, that wouldn't be something I'd even consider doing. Like, why would I just copy the title? Why not rename it something else so somebody else can find you? I don't know. It's a strange thing to do, but I guess it makes sense then, because whenever I have looked at things online, if you're ever looking for something viral, you'd always see like a list of reactionary channels first. So I guess it does work for the algorithm. So I guess they know what they're kind of doing. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't hate H3, but their community is such a virtue signaling echo chamber. It's hard not to be put off sometimes. Yeah, to be fair, the H3 thing, I don't know, maybe he's a bit spineless. Like I find him to be a bit of a spineless guy, but again, not his fault. It kind of is what it is. Personally, I don't think he's the most well-intentioned guy in the world, don't get me wrong. He probably does have some good traits about him, but I don't know, it's just never been for me really. I used to tune into H3 here and there at the beginning when they did their podcast, but then after a while I just kind of got put off by it. You know, it's just not for me really, that kind of humor, their perspective on the world. It's just not something that I kind of agree with in the slightest. So just kind of keep it moving. But there are some clips I see of him online which I'd like. But if anything, the thing that I like the best about I mixed the fucking names together. The thing I like the best about Ethan is just his willingness to fucking just say what he wants to say. And at the risk of legitimately risking everybody's jobs, you know what I mean? Because he just says some crazy shit, puts everybody's job in jeopardy, but he doesn't care. And I think the reason why he does that is because he looks after people. I think behind the scenes, he actually has made some promises to people probably directly and said, hey, if I have to pay you out of my own fucking pocket, I will. Don't worry about the sponsors type of thing. So I think that is commendable that he does that, to be fair. And it makes for a funner show because it's a roller coaster. You don't know what's going to go on. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, let's continue now. Let's go here and say this. Next thing to say, brother, man. Brother. Really, is that true? Teju said all these employees are over 100k salary. That's really good then. I guess I keep saying, is it true? I'm shocked because obviously, you know, LA, London, but I'm assuming 100k, although it's a lot, might not be a lot in LA, right? Maybe that's probably the reason why. So maybe 100k is a good starting base because it gives everybody opportunity to kind of, you know, get some, you know, have a good quality of life. But I guess 100,000 probably isn't the same 100,000 that it'd be in the UK. Because if I was on 100,000 pounds here in the UK, I'd be balling. I'd be balling. I'd have a separate studio and all sorts of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And there'll be money left over to fucking look after fucking like a Doberman. Or a Chihuahua. But yeah, anyway, let's continue. Brother, man, they gave my boy Tory Lanez 10 years, man. They gave my boy Tory a 10 stack. A fucking 10 stack. I'm pretty shocked, I'm not gonna lie. I probably shouldn't be. If you do kind of like take a step back and analyze things, they did make it very clear that they wanted to make an example out of Tory Lanez. The fact that, you know, even if you don't believe he did it and you think it's all lies and shit, on paper, he did shoot a fucking black woman. In 2023 and onwards, it's just not going to run, especially in a place like LA, especially with her being super high profile. It was always going to end one way. So it's not too surprising that he did get jail time, prison time. It's just surprising the number. I thought he would have got, I was thinking he would have got like 5 or 6 is what I was thinking. Then with time served, he would have probably did 4 years, you know? Like that was what I was thinking he'd probably end up getting. But 10 years for shooting not directly into somebody's foot, but around their foot is fucking crazy for me. Like that doesn't make any sense, especially when you think about the amount of years people get for killing somebody while they're fucking driving drunk, right? DUI, fucking whatever it may be, and I think it's called vehicular fucking manslaughter, or whatever it may be, or murder, and they don't get as much time. So that's crazy. So 10 years is a bit wild for me in that regard, but hey, it kind of is what it is, and I guess in some case it does put a little bit of closure on the whole series of events that happened, right? We now know that it's kind of all done, it's all kind of over, there's not much more to kind of go on in this, and we kind of have to move on. But I don't know, I'm curious to see what happens going forward, because I read some other bits and pieces online about the whole case, and I saw that Megan Thee Stallion sent a letter to the judge because she didn't want to appear there and give a statement, so she sent a letter that was read out by her lawyer. And in the letter, bro, like, you could feel the hate that she has for fucking Tory in that letter. You could feel how much she dislikes this man. Like, she fucking hates him. And the contrast is odd because Tory then got a chance to speak in court, and he was saying that how he still thinks Megan's his friend. Like, legit, he was still saying in court, as he was, you know, before his sentence got read, he was saying, yeah, he still counts Megan as a friend. He regrets everything that he did. On the night, he didn't basically admit he shot her, but he just basically said he regrets the events that led up to it. He shouldn't have said what he said in terms of revealing the secrets, that he was smashing both Megan and Kelsey at the time. But he essentially still was, you know, he spoke with some sort of like love in his heart for fucking Megan Thee Stallion. But then when Megan read the letter to the judge, bro, she basically sounded like, hey, I want this guy to get the fucking most sentence possible, because he has not, I think the line that was used in her letter to the judge was that Megan said she hasn't had a day of peace since that event happened. And it's fucking crazy because even to this day, we don't know what actually occurred, because there was no DNA of Tory's on the gun. Kelsey took that plea deal. Loads of other messed up fugazi shit happened. We don't actually know who actually shot fucking Megan. And even the shot Megan thing, we don't actually know if she actually got that shot directly in the foot, because it said there was fragments of stuff in her foot, but not bullet fragments. All this sort of madness stuff. It's kind of inconclusive to this day. Obviously, we know they were all there, Kelsey, Tory, and Megan, but to this day we don't know. So the fact that he got sentenced to 10 years for a crime that a lot of people can't actually agree on who did it is a bit wild. We all know that Megan was a victim in this case, but the fact that we don't know who did it is the thing that's really kind of boggling my mind in terms of it getting to a point where he has to serve 10 years for it. It's fucking insane. But it should be, I feel like, a warning and a heads up to all men out there, especially men, when dealing with women. You just have to keep your composure at all times, because one mistake, one horny, like crazy night where, you know, his world was just on fire, right? Just imagine Tory, you know, quarantine radio time. His star is never brighter. He's now in rooms that he probably was never in before. He now suddenly ends up at Kylie Jenner's house. Kylie Jenner's giving him the eyes in the pool. At the same time, he does, you know, no one else knows in the house that he's smashing both Megan and her friend Kelsey. Even the friends don't know he's fucking smashing Megan and Kelsey. And in that moment, he feels like he can do everything. He thought he could probably pull Kylie too in the pool. That then pisses off Megan, who then, you know, decides to storm off, and that then leads them all to leave the house together. And then that's what then leads to the shooting. But I think, for as much blame as some people who love Tory are putting on Megan, I still think the responsibility laid at the feet of Tory. If Tory just would have kept his composure and just chilled and enjoyed the kickback that they had at Kylie's house for what it was, had some drinks, drunk some 1942, had a couple of tacos and shit, busted some jokes, got some pictures off for the gram, he would have been he would have gone down being a king, because those pictures would have hit the internet of little Tory in between Megan, Kylie, and Kelsey, and he would look like a fucking king. He did too much. He did too much, and in the end, he paid the ultimate price. Don't get me wrong. Does anybody, you know, should men go to prison for 10 years for being horny? Probably not, right? But I feel like being too horny is what led him to this position, in my opinion. And then when it got to a point of them doing the back and forths, and, you know, you can't tell anybody how to feel if they get disrespected. So I feel like Megan felt like Tory was antagonizing her online, even though I think they were both as bad as each other. They were both kind of going back and forth on social media, because no one wants to be looked at as a fucking woman shooter, right? That no one wants to do that in any way, shape, or form, especially a dude. But no woman also wants to be called a liar, because Megan was getting it. So I feel I sympathize with Megan, because she was getting fucking abused online. Tory was getting abused online, so they both tried to kind of play out in the court of public opinion. But it looks like, judging from what the judge also said, because I feel like some comments have been attributed to the judge, he said something at the end like Tory's lack of remorse and the fact that he was going back and forth with Megan online, or in the words I think of the judge, he said antagonizing her, is what led to the harsher sentence. Like, he showed no remorse. But, you know, if you're a Tory supporter, you're like, how can he show remorse if he didn't do the crime? You know, it's like he didn't do it. So how can he be remorseful for something he didn't do? But in general, they both did too much, and in the end, it cost them both a lot of time, because I'm still not too sure. I heard academics speak about it. He said, "Oh, it's not over for Megan." I don't think it's actually green for Megan either. It's not all sunshine and rainbows either for her, because I feel like this cloud isn't gonna leave her anytime soon. In the same way that the whole Chris Brown and Rihanna thing is never going to go away from them, as part of their history until the day that they die, I think this is probably going to be far worse for both parties included. I think they're both not going to be able to shake this dark cloud over them. The fact that they had to kind of, you know, go through this fucking whole affair. So even though Megan got the outcome that she wanted, I don't think it's actually going to be all sunshine and rainbows for her career. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to still have a lot of questions, and it's still going to be one of those things that's going to be lingering on top. Unless she obviously comes out with music that's completely undeniable, people are going to just shut up and move on. But it's just going to be a topic of conversation forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So, you know, it kind of is what it is. 10 years for Tory is fucking nuts, to be fair. Like I said, even if you think he's guilty, I think 10 years for, you know, whatever happened there is just nuts. But it kind of is what it is, and he has a hell of a fight on his hands now. I think his lawyers are going to put in an appeal, but again, sometimes, I don't know, maybe he's gonna have a sleep and think to himself, you know what, do I want to go through this whole drama again, drag my family through court, spend loads of money, all this, like pick my life apart to go through the trial, or just take my time like a man and just sit it down and kind of go there? Who knows? And then again, as a fan of music and as a fan of chaos, I'm also eager to see how Megan navigates her career now. Like, what do you do now? Do you just like drop music and act like it never happened? Do you do one final public interview and kind of answer all the lingering questions and go from there? What do you actually do? You know, what's an actual next step? Because I think it's very telling that there hasn't been a lot of celebrities out there kind of clamoring to say congratulations to her. You know what I mean? I think it's very telling, because I think a lot of them probably are, you know, don't really know what happened, or some of them believe Tory didn't do it. Like, I think it's very telling so far, because the industry is full of fucking spineless fake people who just kind of go with the wind and also kind of protect their own interests. But I feel like the lack of people who have come out, you know, in support of Megan is very, very telling, in my opinion. Very, very telling. So let's see what happens. Let's see what goes on. What are you guys saying in the chat about this whole subject? Let me quickly scroll up and see what you're saying. 10 years is crazy. Yeah, I agree. At least he can grow taller in prison. Teju, you're a fucking animal. Jordan Ray says Tory's sketch is hilarious. He doesn't even look like him. Yeah, exactly. A day of peace from what? Exactly 7:30. How would the jury find him guilty with no evidence? Yeah, I think it's your American legal system. I think it's probably the same in the UK. It's just what you call it. I guess they had to come to as a conclusion as who most likely did it, and I guess they said most likely it was fucking Tory, because they couldn't convict Kelsey. Because Kelsey, the other girl that was there, she actually is the smartest person out of this whole thing. Like, no one kind of knew, and everyone kind of discounted her and kind of underestimated her, but she somehow managed to, you know, negotiate a plea deal for herself, which basically gave her immunity from prosecution, and she was able to give evidence, go on the stand, but also she wasn't liable to be prosecuted for the shooting, which was fucking incredible. So she got away with it completely scot-free. So big up Kelsey for pulling that fast one. Stephen Castaneda says, happened after a party at Kylie Jenner's house, but she never had to testify. Exactly, yeah. To be fair, she never testified because it was just the location of the house. I don't think the party played any part in what happened in the car. Even though it resulted in them leaving, you know, it didn't play a part. The funny story about that Kylie thing, if you don't know, the kind of on-the-ground gossip, if you guys don't know, is that what happened is that, obviously, as I mentioned before, the part of the story of Kylie giving Tory some flirtatious looks in the pool, but the story is basically something along the lines of who invited who? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter details. Somehow they will end up. No, sorry, Megan. Yeah. So big up Stingu. Thank you for a super chat.
Can we trade Baba for Tory?
Yeah, exactly. Hello. Thank you, Stingu, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Hey, to be fair, I wouldn't wish prison on fucking Brendan. He's a redact and he puts out bad comedy specials, and, you know, he's a bit of a douche, but I wouldn't wish prison on him at all. No way, shape or form. But going back to this thing, what happened actually was really funny was that I'm pretty sure the story goes Megan and Kelsey were at the party with Kylie themselves, two girls, right? Then later on down the line, Megan then invites Tory to come and join her and Kelsey and Kylie at Kylie's house. Tory arrives, and I think when Tory arrives, Kelsey, the other girl that he's fucking behind Megan's back, they're two best friends, but they don't know they're both by fucking Tory. She's a bit drunk and she's sleeping. She goes to sleep. So then it ends up being just like Tory and Megan and Kylie in the room or in the pool somewhere hanging out. And I guess in that instance is when they start being flirty. But then in that instance is also when Megan and Kylie have some sort of friction. I think they said it was about food or something. Something happened where Megan and Kylie had some sort of friction. Then Kelsey joins in and kind of, you know, she's the one that kind of gets Kylie likes the most, and then they kind of get back to being cool. Then they get into an argument because I guess Megan sees Kylie and Tory flirting. She storms out and gets angry, and they get into some sort of argument. Kylie's like, look, I don't want none of that fucking ratchetness in my house. You all have to leave. And then they all leave. That's kind of what essentially happened. So the Tory thing is way sadder because he wasn't actually there. Like, he got invited there by the girls, and then one of the girls he ends up getting into a tete-a-tete with. And then for some reason, I don't know why he did that. I think this is another reason why I don't agree with boys or men being in women's business. I feel like men should stay out of women's business in, you know, as much as you can as possible. Like, stay out of women's business. Try and be a gentleman when you're dating women as much as you can. Try and be a gentleman. Treat women with respect. Take them out on dates. If it's one time and done, make it an enjoyable experience. Because clearly we've seen, if you do piss off a woman, she can legitimately ruin your life, like for real, for real. And I think that for the most part, there's a lot of guys out there that also play into that. Like, they like the danger of having a woman kind of like, you know, that's hating them and wishes bad on them. And I don't want that kind of energy out there. I wouldn't want that. And I feel like personally, Tory did a bit too much when he then got in a car and then they got into an argument. And for some reason, he thought it was a smart decision, a smart tactic to air out everyone's business and say, oh, you don't even know that I'm fucking your friend, wherever he's in the car. And then that caused the argument and the fight between Kelsey and Megan Thee Stallion, which then led to a shooting. Because I think some people are hypothesizing that Megan, obviously, because she's fucking huge, right? She was beating up Kelsey really bad. She kind of ripped her chain, punched her in the face and shit a few times. And then Kelsey was obviously losing the fight, and then she got frustrated losing the fight, and she ran over to the front of the car to grab the gun. But that's where Tory was sitting. And then Kelsey and Tory got into a scuffle with the gun, and that's when the gun went off. That's what people say was what happened. So it wasn't like Tory actually got the gun and shot Megan. It was more so Kelsey grabbed the gun to go and shoot Megan because Megan was fucking her up. But obviously, because Tory cares for Megan, he didn't want Kelsey to shoot her, so he was wrestling with a gun, and the gun accidentally went off. That's what they're saying. But again, I'm a guy who believes in, you know, what's that thing called? Radical fucking personal responsibility, if that is a term. And I'm always going to be someone that's going to say, hey, if I have an ability to control a situation within my power, I'm going to do so. And I feel like Tory just relinquished that control because his dick was hard. That's what happened, basically, in my opinion. I think when you kind of get down to the bare crux of it, he was too horny, and he paid the ultimate price of being too horny. The ultimate fucking price. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Moving on from that one quickly, we're going to talk about this regarding Barstool Sports. This is pretty interesting news, just broke now on Twitter. It looks like Dave Portnoy has got Barstool Sports back under his control. He got it back completely from Penn Entertainment, as you say here. Penn Entertainment sells Barstool Sports back to founder Dave Portnoy. This is a big deal because obviously recently that Mitzi guy got fired for dropping the N-bomb while live on stream doing his show. So obviously he quickly rehired him. But I'm also surprised because I got the feeling for a while that Dave Portnoy was kind of like overdoing business and shit. He kind of was talking a lot about, you know, recently he went on a massive like world tour. I feel like he's in Italy. He was doing loads of interviews with people where he was talking about how he's kind of happy he doesn't have to do the whole day-to-day being in the office and stuff. So I'm surprised he now has decided to take back full control, to be honest. It kind of feels like it came out of the blue, but maybe him going on the world tour and kind of enjoying himself these last few months has been an indication that he was always going to get back into the fray, because maybe now he's thinking, hey, I'm going to double down and actually get back to work, so I need to have a break now because I'm not going to have a break in a long time. Who knows? Anyway, let's read the article. It says Dave Portnoy, the outspoken founder of Barstool Sports, is once again the owner of his media brand after buying it back from Penn Entertainment. The value of the deal, which was announced on Tuesday, was not immediately known. Barstool Sports was valued at $606 million in February when Penn bought the rest of the company it didn't already own. Penn became minority owner in 2020. So they bought the whole company in full in Feb and then gave it back to him already in fucking September. So in August. What fucking happened? It seems strange, isn't it? Portnoy, who founded Barstool Sports in 2003, said in a post on Tuesday that Penn and Barstool had gone their separate ways, and Penn said the de-investure was completed in exchange for a non-compete and other restrictive covenants. So basically, he didn't have to pay any money, basically, it looks like. Just a clause of a non-compete and other restrictive covenants. Cool. Penn sold Barstool Sports at a time that it announced an online sports deal with Disney, owned by ESPN. Oh, this might be the reason then. That disclosure sent Penn's shares up more than 50%. So maybe Penn were signing this. Yeah, that makes more sense. Penn sold Barstool Sports same time they announced the deal. Yeah, that makes more sense. That's probably why they sold it. This deal they're doing with Disney. That disclosure center, Penn will have the right to 50% of the gross proceeds of in the event Portnoy sells or monetizes Barstool, the release said. And I guess that's probably why he said in the press release or in the emergency press thing he did that he's never going to sell Barstool Sports now, Now that he owns it, it's in his control, he's never ever going to sell it. And if it does need to, you know, if he does pass, when he passes away, he's going to give it to one of the other guys that founded Barstool Sports with him, or one of the early guys, but he's never going to sell it. So interested to see how it goes on. I'm interested to see what happens going forward. Is he going to double down with the podcasting content? Are they going to double down more on just do sports? Are they going to branch out to other fields? Like, I'm eager to see what happens going forward now with Barstool Sports. But yeah, cool to see Dave Portnoy back in control of the company 100%. So let's see what they do from now on going forward. Moving on from that, let's get into all the Brendan shit, because I can't stay too long. Let's get into Brendan shit. What are you guys saying in the chat here? Ucha saying, if Kelsey had immunity, couldn't she have said she did it and not gone in trouble? And what was Corey's, and that was Corey off the hook? Yeah, I think some people were saying that, Ucha. I think that's why some people who are Tory fans, because I follow everybody on social, especially on Twitter. I love to do that to kind of get both sides of the story. But I think a lot of the Tory fan base are saying the same thing. Like, she could have got, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kelsey was pregnant at the time. No, was pregnant at the time the whole trial was going on. So you can understand her being a new mum. She didn't want to go to prison, right? I understand that. So she did what she had to do to protect her family. I think everyone would kind of do that. Cool. But I think some people are arguing that she could have done that, but also still exonerated Tory at some respect, or helped him out. And she didn't. I think she gave Tory's camp the impression that she was going to do it. I don't think anybody knew she had immunity. And then when she got in the stand, she kind of pulled a bit of a Uno. Do you know what I mean? A bit of a reverse Uno, sorry. And then everyone was kind of shocked when it happened. So, you know, in that respect, she was kind of smart, but I guess it kind of is what it is, isn't it? I still put responsibility on Tory, man. If you just would have chilled out, had a glass of water, I know, you know, I can understand as a dude how fucking incredible that experience must have been. Knowing in the back of your head that you're smashing both of these women, right? What Megan, one of the most desirable women in hip hop. Kelsey, she was a close second because she was always hanging around Megan at the time. They were kind of known, you know, around fucking social media, wearing the same fucking, you know, style bikini and shit, and looking fabulous on IG. Then turning up to Kylie's and she's giving you the fucking fuck me eyes. Like, I understand how most guys would kind of shake at the knees at that, but I just think you have to kind of, you know, judge your risks accordingly. There was just too many landmines. He was never going to be in a position where he was going to fuck Kylie anyway, especially that night, because, you know, there was just too many people to kind of navigate against, right? Like Kelsey and, you know, and fucking Megan are there. They both like you. It was just hard to fucking figure it out. So he should have abandoned the fucking mission and just sat back and relaxed, had a drink, had some good times, whatever, smoked, did some Xanax, whatever they fucking do in those rich houses. He didn't need to try so hard. And I think him trying to make it happen, setting off fucking Megan, them having an argument, then the blow up in the car, it just was all avoidable in my opinion. But, you know, maybe I'm being a little bit too fucking simpy about it. I don't know. Let's move on from that one. Let's talk about this. So, going on to the fucking Brendan shit. Brendan was recently on Joe Rogan Experience for the Fight Companion. For the UFC fight night that happened over this past weekend, and obviously watching some of the boxing between Jake Paul and fucking Nate Diaz. And it was an interesting Fight Companion to watch, because the first thing that kind of struck you watching it was Brendan was definitely looking for Joe's approval more than usual, which for me is more evidence that they don't talk as often. Because I feel like if you go to some of his earlier episodes where he was really, like, you know, friendly with Joe, and Joe was still in LA, you could tell they spoke often, because sometimes they wouldn't have anything to talk about, or just Brendan was just really relaxed. Whenever he goes on Rogan these days, it feels like he's kind of performing, like he's trying to remind Rogan, hey, we're friends, right? Hey, remember I can make you laugh. Hey, remember this thing I know about you. Hey, remember this thing we did before? Like, he's kind of doing that thing where he's sort of trying to remind Joe that they're friends, that they're cool, that he's funny, that he likes him. It was just a strange interaction to see. And I guess because I'm a little bit detached from both of these guys, I just watched them for the content. I'm not really, you know, as much as I love Rogan, I'm not kind of in love with the guy. I could just view it as like two adults, two middle-aged, you know, or two guys that got kids and shit. And the power dynamic is strange. Like I've always said, it's like, as much as people kind of rag on Rogan, like it must be so odd to be like just a dude that does a podcast, but then have all these guys around you who legitimately like worship you. Like they look at you like you're a fucking god. It must be such an odd dynamic to kind of navigate through day to day, because even your friends, like Brendan is somebody that I would think is, you know, Rogan's friend. And even he does the whole like, Joe Rogan, like me, please, Rogan, like me, please, Rogan dance. So it must be odd for Rogan to kind of just, you know, navigate that, because even your friends are acting weird. It's just a bizarre thing. Anyway, let's move on. So this particular video is fucking hilarious. Take it for the fun, the kids subreddit, because it immediately kind of, for me, is another example as to why some people don't like Brendan. And I just can't for the life of me understand why this man can't figure out these sort of things, and just kind of nip him in the bud, because it's so bizarre. Because he doesn't do this, he kind of does this depending on who he's speaking to, and depending on who he's sitting next to as well, this type of attitude. But essentially, Eddie Brother starts talking about stand-up, and then Brendan gives Rogan some kind of look like, oh, here he goes, like rolling his eyes as if he's some, you know, like 3-decade-long veteran in fucking stand-up comedy and something. It's fucking obscene, because you'd imagine, most likely, I haven't seen Eddie Brother stand-up, but I wouldn't imagine it's good, but I still wouldn't, I would go as far as saying Brendan and Eddie Brother's comedy is probably at the same level, or they've probably been doing it around the same amount of time. So for Brendan to give Rogan the fucking look at this guy eyes is really, really disrespectful in some respects, especially considering that Eddie Brother's older than him. You know what I mean? It's just a weird thing that he did there. I didn't really understand why he would do it to somebody that you also account to be as a friend. Let me play the clip.
Up in there? Have you ever not smoked weed all day, and then right when you get introduced to go on stage, take a hit of a pen and walk on stage? That's your first high as you walk on stage. You ever done that?
I've gotten on stage high every way conceivably possible.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I've done that.
Dude, to me, that's the
move.
Formula.
That's the formula?
Oh my, for me.
Yeah.
That I once I figured that, because at first I would smoke weed like all day and then go on stage and I would forget my bits, and then I go, you know what, I can't smoke weed anymore on stage. So then I go, I'm not gonna smoke weed, I'm gonna go on stage, no, not high. And then I would remember everything, and I would
like, let's play it one more time. Like, look at his eyes. Why would you do that to somebody like an Eddie Brother? Like, especially someone that's meant to be your friend, especially considering that you're not a fucking, you know, a veteran comic yourself. Like, why are you giving the guy the eyes? Like, oh, look at this guy type of eyes. Like, why? Especially to Rogan to join you, but obviously he's not. And this happened quite often in the fucking pod. Brendan would give Rogan the eyes, like clearly maybe intimating that maybe in the past they would have laughed about this sort of stuff, inside jokes, but Rogan's not kind of biting. He's not really with it. So clearly he's not on that kind of time. But let me play it one more time.
have you ever not smoked weed all day, and then right when you get introduced to go take a hit of a pen and walk on stage? That's your first high as you walk on stage. You ever done that?
I've gotten on stage high every way conceivably possible.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I've done that.
Dude, to me, that's the fucking formula.
That's the formula?
Oh my, for me.
Yeah.
I once I figured that, because at first I would smoke weed like all day and then go on stage and I would forget my bits, and then I go, you know what, I can't smoke weed anymore on stage. So then I go, I'm not gonna smoke weed, I'm gonna go on stage.
And again, it's not a big deal. Don't get me wrong. This is a bit nitpicking. It's a 30-second clip, and it could have been anything, like Uche is saying. Maybe he was tweaking on the addies. Who knows? But it's just one of those things that you just don't need to do, because it just gives people an easy excuse not to like you, because they see this clip and they're like, you know what? Fuck this guy. Who does he think he is? It's that kind of energy. You don't need to be putting that kind of energy out there if you're Brendan for free. You know, have people not liking you because of your fucking jokes and shit, or because you're not funny, or because of your dumb opinions. But just not having people not liking you for free because of stuff like this is really odd. You know, like, why do this? It's not necessary. That's why I think in general, I tend to agree now, and I'm starting to lean towards the idea that maybe Brendan is just like beyond saving. You know, he's beyond kind of redemption. It's not ever going to come back again. He's not ever going to be the guy that we kind of all liked at the beginning at T-Fat-K. That guy's dead. You know what I mean? Whoever he is now, you know, graying, getting older, getting fatter, with more kids, 40 plus years old. It's very kind of difficult to expect someone like that to change, especially if they, you know, have all the trappings in life that they kind of want, the house, the cars, the cool trainers. There's no incentive to fucking change because life hasn't really changed that much really for him to kind of wake up in that regard. And obviously all the noise is coming from people like myself and other fucking content creators on YouTube who he obviously looks down upon and thinks we're fucking scum of the earth and we're haters and trolls and shit. So he's never going to listen to something that we say. And obviously his friends around him, most of his friends, he pays them, so they're not going to say nothing because he cuts their checks and pays their bills. So maybe he's beyond help. Maybe it's kind of is what it is, and he's the guy that he is now, and you just have to kind of take it as it is. But it's just disappointing for him because he gives people such an easy reason not to like him with these little things like this are just not necessary. You know what I mean? Just why are you rolling your eyes at him for? Like, he's trying to talk about comedy, he's trying to like share his passion. He's trying to be passionate about something that you're clearly into as well because you do it yourself, talking about his rituals and shit. Why not just like, you know, riff on it and talk about it also? It's odd. It's odd. It's odd. It's odd. Yeah, exactly, Stingo, exactly. This is why PF Chang stays in business. Exactly. He's never going to change. Exactly. Bravo. Brilliant point. He's never going to change. That's why PF Chang's is never going to go out of business. Never. But yeah, let's go. Moving on for this. Next one is that in this particular clip, I was desperately waiting for Brendan to say his piece. When Eddie Bravo basically starts to give Brendan and Joe their flowers and starts to, you know, kind of give them praise for their vast knowledge of combat sports, I really wanted Brendan to answer Eddie Bravo's question about how do they find time to watch everything. A part of me feels like, again, maybe I'm reading too much into it because I'm a fucking redact, but a part of me thinks Eddie Bravo isn't as dumb as he makes out to be. He kind of plays into it. He wants people to think he's crazy and dumb, but he's clearly not. I feel like this question, he was kind of taking the piss out of both of these guys. He was basically saying, without saying, you guys pretend like you watch everything, but you don't. You just watch the main events here and there, but you act like you watch all the fucking combat sports, but you don't, type of thing. That's the impression I kind of got from it. It wasn't as sincere of a question as he's trying to make it seem as. But Joe answered it pretty sincerely, but I was desperately waiting for Brendan to answer and to kind of give his breakdown of what he does in a day and how he watches things. Because one thing we know for certain, Brendan doesn't do nothing. He doesn't, all he watches online, all he watches in terms of fight tape, I think, in my opinion, just my humble opinion, is the stuff he sees on Twitter. Clips he sees on Twitter or on Instagram pages, that's the only thing he watches. He doesn't actually sit there with a pad watching YouTube fucking replays and highlights or even downloading the full fight cast from previous times and shit and rewatching fights. I don't think he does that in the slightest. No way, shape or form. At most, whatever he sees online on Twitter and fucking Instagram is what he kind of consumes. But this question from fucking Eddie Bravo was absolutely spectacular, and I wanted Brendan to answer it so badly, but he didn't, because he's smarter than that. He's actually smarter than that. So credit to Brendan for kind of, you know, letting Joe talk and then him at the background saying, yeah, me too.
Well, that car accident was fucking crazy. Did you see
it?
the car accident that Errol
Dude,
Spence
I didn't even know who
488?
Crawford was until 4 days ago.
No, really?
What?
I don't pay attention to boxing. I don't got time for that.
Oh my God.
I got
If
too many
there's
conspiracy
any
theory
guy-
videos to watch. Dude, I don't got time for that.
That's
Like everybody
hilarious.
got to live. Like what I want to know with you guys, seriously, both of you guys.
Okay.
You guys are fucking encyclo-fucking-pedias. Not only with MMA, but with fucking boxing and kickbox. When do you guys watch this shit? Tell me. When do you watch it? At night? Before you go to bed? Before you? No, not where. When?
When I'm eating breakfast.
Breakfast.
Breakfast is your fight time?
After
in the
I
morning?
work out in the morning.
Okay.
And then
What
after
time
I'm
do you
done
wake?
working out.
What time do you work out generally? 8, 9?
Yeah, somewhere around then, and I'm done around noon.
And then
And that's usually when I eat.
And then where do you eat?
I eat in the kitchen.
Here?
My house.
At your house, and then
Yeah.
you have like an iPad on.
No, my phone.
So
I watch
when you
fights.
eat breakfast, you want to watch fights.
Yes.
Okay,
Or
that's-
I watch pool matches. Or I watch muscle car videos.
Yeah, whatever you
Whoa.
But this is the whole idea.
Whoa.
Keep it stupid.
Yeah, totally. Total distraction.
Yeah.
Total.
I'm just looking for the art form in the boxing and in pool. I'm looking at how they get out, the patterns and muscle cars. I'm like, ooh.
So at night when you go to sleep, you don't use that for like kickboxing or boxing?
No, very rarely.
What do you do at night?
Chill.
What do you watch?
Watch TV shows. Like I watch Yellowstone.
With your wife.
Yeah. Or I'll watch, like I was into Succession, but we finished it.
When do you do conspiracy theory videos? When do you do, like, I mean, there's guys.
Whenever you send them to the group text.
Generally, those
You know
are
a
during
lot.
the day. People send me things.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I generally do, I don't watch too many videos. But
Anyway, it was funny though because you hear Brendan in the background, like trying to anticipate what Brendan was saying. Yeah, with your wife. Yeah, that's like, yeah, with your wife. Can I be your wife, please? Joe looks at him like, nigga, chill, man. Let me answer. So I really wanted Brendan to answer that question so badly. I really wanted him to answer that question so badly, but he did a good job of basically answering it himself by just agreeing with what Joe was saying in a really hushed tones. Yeah, in the night, in the evening, in this, bro. You don't watch anything, and the evidence I think why he doesn't watch everything is because SCHAUB'S show is one of his worst shows. I said it hands down. SCHAUB'S show is definitely one of Brendan Schaub's worst shows under Thick Boy. Honestly, in my life, it's so terrible. And because the reason why it's so terrible is because he doesn't try to do any fucking research. He doesn't actually watch old, fight cards. He doesn't watch anybody's fucking previous performances to figure out, fight picks and shit. Like zero. He does absolutely zero, as he would say, right? Zero research. And I think that is what leads to the show being terrible, because he just shows up and just reads shit on Wikipedia and MMA websites and shit and kind of keeps it moving. So it's incredibly low effort. And if he would do just a slight bit of work, it'd actually improve the show tenfold, because he's already got the experience. He was an actual legit former UFC fighter, so he's already got a better base than most people out there, but he doesn't take advantage of it, doesn't use it to his advantage, and just does the bare minimum, going through the motions, thinking it's going to be enough, and it's not. So I really wanted him to give his breakdown of what he does and how he's able to cover so many sports, because he doesn't cover them. He doesn't watch them or anything. He just kind of sees what he sees on social media and keeps it moving. What are you guys saying in the chat? Joe really knows about combat sport, Papa doesn't. Yeah, for sure, I agree with that. Stinger Goo. Brendan's thinking up an answer. Brendan wanting to get into the mothership. He's waiting for Joe to ask him. I believe that thing that somebody said. Who said it? Somebody said a thing in the Find a Kid subreddit. Somebody that sounded like they knew what they were talking about and they were maybe in the know. Maybe somebody that works in the comedy mothership and they're being kind of covert. They basically said that Brendan did ask Joe if he could perform there, but Joe basically said he's not good enough. He basically just kind of was honest and said, hey, you're not currently at the level yet where you should be performing here. And then also, I think he then palmed off Brendan to the guy Adam Eagert that he took from the comedy store to join him at the comedy mothership, who's handling all the bookings and shit. So that's what the guy I remember saying on Fighting the Kid. I'm pretty sure he said, like, Rogan told Brendan, you're not good enough to play. And then he also said, hey, when you are good enough, you can come, but then when you do come back, talk to Adam Eagert, basically. I don't do the bookings. So I think that is actually true. So I think Brendan knows why he doesn't play there. He knows. He's not unaware, which I think is what makes the relationship even more awkward, because they've clearly had a conversation where Rogan's told him, hey, you're not funny, basically. Which is fucking brutal. I'm probably one of the only people that will probably say this now. I kind of sympathize with Brendan's delusion of maybe he feels like he's entitled to play at Rogan's club, because when Rogan was living in LA, Rogan had no problem having Brendan on his Joe Rogan and Friends lineups when he did him at a comedy store. And I don't personally think Brendan has got any worse since then. He's just the same. I don't think he's improved or he's got worse. Honestly, I think he's just plateau. He's never going to be more funny than he is now. It just is what it is. You just can't, some people just can't, one day wake up and try and be funny in their mid-30s. It's just very difficult. So I think wherever he's at now is just where he's always going to be at forever. And I don't think he was any worse back then. So Rogan had him on his shows back then. Then suddenly he moves to Austin, and then he has a fucking, he suddenly has an awakening and becomes a total comedy purist, and now he doesn't want him to perform at his club. if I was Brendan, again, if I was Brendan, I would be a little bit annoyed at that. I would feel a little bit entitled to, no, you had me playing at the fucking comedy store, where you always talk about so highly about fucking what's her name, Mitski and all that person, right? But Mrs. Shaw, sorry. But then when you have your own club, now suddenly you don't want to be my friend anymore. I'd be a little bit annoyed, you know, just a tiny bit annoyed if that was me. But hey, what do I know? What are you guys saying in the chat? Oh, hey, big up my guy Wolfgang. Good to see you, my friend. Big up Jared Merrick, I see you. Josie, I see you. Big up Charles Lucas, I see you here. Everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging in there. Make sure you're liking the stream along the way too. That'd be greatly appreciated. We guys saying here, Brendan is just an echo for Papa. Joe here, like every time he's around, I would love to see Joe just call him out on it once. Yeah, big up Mitski. Big up Mitski Shaw. Big up the legendary singer Mitski Shaw. She's gonna be at Primavera next year, mate. They're gonna fucking dig up a. Nah, I can't say that, can I? That's a bit mad. But anyway, let's move. Let's move. This is another clip as well that I find fucking incredible. Incredible. Personally, I feel like if you're married to a Mexican woman who you say is 100% Mexican and not Taco Bell Mexican and is from Guadalajara, right? In my opinion, I feel like you should be able to pronounce Modelo. Is that a stretch or is that fair to say? If your spouse is Mexican or if your spouse is from, you know, a fucking South American country, a Central American country, you should be able to pronounce Modelo. It shouldn't be too difficult to pronounce Modelo if your spouse is Mexican, in my opinion. But listen to how Brendan pronounces Modelo.
They had the, you order the alcohol on the list, and it was like, Modelo, $18, Coors, $18.
Bud Light, 14 cents.
Dude, $8. $8. And it's
Modelo. Have you heard anybody pronounce a Modelo in your entire life? Modelo. Like, I'm not even the biggest Modelo drinker in my life, right? Usually I tend to kind of crack open a Modelo when you're away, when you're fucking on vacation. They usually just hit way different. I don't know why. Buying a Modelo here from fucking Tesco's or Sainsbury's and chucking it in my fridge just doesn't hit the same. But when I did visit Mexico City, or however many years I went, or when I went to fucking Nicaragua, or when I went to fucking Honduras, it's nice to have those fucking beverages over there. But usually, for the most part, if you have any fucking, grasp of the Spanish language or any grasp of fucking Latin culture, right, you should have an understanding of how Modelo is pronounced. It's just one of those things that you kind of just understand, right? But Modelo, one more time.
They had the, you order the alcohol on the list, and it was like, Modelo, $18, Coors, $18.
Bud Light, 14 cents.
Dude, $8. $8. And
Modelo, like I've literally never heard anybody pronounce a Modelo, but hey, it kind of is what it is, isn't it? I guess that's maybe the more authentic Guadalajara way of pronouncing Modelo. Maybe Guadalajara is it's got its own different regional accent, right? So maybe that over fucking Guadalajara, they pronounce Modelo's Modela, right? Maybe, who knows? You never know. Guadalajara, Modela, you never know. Como se dice. Anyway, let's continue that. I thought that was fucking incredible, man. Then we got this clip. This is courtesy again of the Fire the Kids subreddit, and it kind of feels a little bit like a bully boy thing. Like, it kind of feels like a bully boy thing. Like, when you're at the barbers, some of you guys that go to the hair salons, I don't know if it happens to you guys in fucking white barbershops, but I know with us fucking black African Caribbean barbershops, sometimes if you were to go there when you're younger, you have the elders come in and they didn't want to wait, and they'd see all you fucking, snotty nosed kids. And instead of waiting, they'll just give you £10 or like a $5 and say, yeah, go get me something in the shop. And then you, like an idiot kid, you don't know what's happening. You go to shops, you come back, and the kid's in your seat. You're like, fuck, right? He told you, yeah, keep the change, right? They kind of hustle you. And then, or maybe when you went to go get a drink, they would make you go get back. They'll make you go get another one, right? You just get sent on errands. It's kind of like a little boy kind of sonning thing that would happen a lot in the area that I kind of grew up in, right? And it usually stops whenever you kind of get some bass in your voice. You know, you develop an Adam's apple or your balls drop, and then suddenly you start to realize, hold on, they're taking the piss out of me, aren't they? So maybe this is kind of part of it, or maybe this is just a reflection of the weird relationship that Eddie Bravo and Brendan have, because I feel like Eddie Bravo knows Brendan tries to sun him, so he basically tries to sun him back sometimes. Very strange interaction. I'm saying all this to say this video is very strange. Just keep in mind what I said and make your own decision what you think happened here, right? This is the title, courtesy of the Find a Kid subreddit. You can see it there. Eddie Bravo and Rogan get ice. Just let me know what you think. What's going on here? Is Brendan getting sunned, or is just Eddie being Eddie?
And what's scary is no one is facing any repercussions.
Zero. He got a slap on
What
the
about all
wrist.
those guys?
Not just him. I'm talking about the people who told everyone that it was Russian disinformation.
They suffer no consequences.
And you know what? They stick with it, though, because they're saying that the justice system is corrupt by saying that it's not.
Yeah.
They go, oh, they're lying, so it's just a lot of confusion.
Thank you, Jamie.
Dude, I went to the website where they released all his pictures and shit. That boy, a wild boy. He looks like a good time, I gotta be honest.
Oh,
Hey, can I have the ball one? Can I have the ball ice?
I'll get
Yes.
some more.
No,
That
let's
is
go.
ball ice, no?
This is not
Oh,
ball
sorry.
ice.
Yeah, you got
I
it.
want the ball ice.
I want the ball too, but I love you.
Thank you.
And you're talking
I owe you.
conspiracies.
I owe you.
I know you conspiracies, the best in the world.
Dude, I'm not, dude, I'm keeping my mouth shut, dog.
What the fuck is that? I'm keeping my mouth shut. It just fucking rattled
No,
off.
I ain't saying
51
shit.
intelligence
No,
officers.
I'm just saying what's already out there.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Dude, I'm just saying what's already out there,
Yes.
dog.
Fuck.
You know what I mean?
Texas bourbon.
I'm not trying to get fucking killed. I'm good. I got plenty.
Okay, let me get some of that, Joe. Shout out to Bodega Cat.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
Balcones.
They could have, dude.
Texas
They could have got Penn.
hot still bourbon.
Dude, they could have got Penn guys to sign off on it. That would have been a lot. But
lot.
They went 50 because they know if they get 50, it's gonna be no doubt. Everyone's gonna believe that shit, right? And they stick with it even today. The mainstream media, they still stick with it.
Let me ask you this: why?
So what do you think happened there with the whole ball of ice exchange? Brendan gets a cup with a ball of ice in it, and then, you know, he's got this kind of sheepish face, sheepish look on his face, and then Eddie Bravo basically says, "Hey, I want your glass with your ice." Like, give me your glass with your ice, and you take my glass with my ice. You got ball ice, and I've got cube ice. I want ball ice. Like, what do you think there? It's a bit of a sunnage. What do you think? I think he kind of sunned him. That was really odd. But Brendan did well, though, to be fair. Brendan did quite well. Brendan kind of recognized he was being sunned, acknowledged it, and said, yeah, I'm going to give you it because I love you. You know? Like, he kind of noticed what was happening there. Don't you think? I think Brendan did kind of, you know, clap back pretty well. Like, let's play it one more time. This bit, just a bit with the ice.
Thank you, Jamie.
Dude, I went to the website where they released all his pictures and shit. That boy, a wild boy. He looks like a good time, I gotta be honest.
Oh,
Hey, can I
Hunter's
have
a
the
wild
ball
boy.
one? Can I have the ball ice?
I'll get
Yes.
some more.
No,
That
let's
is
go.
ball ice, no?
This is not
Oh,
ball
sorry.
ice.
Yeah, you got
I
it.
want the ball ice.
I want the ball too, but I love you.
Thank you.
And you're talking
I owe you.
conspiracies.
I owe you.
See what I mean? I think Brendan did pretty well, but I also think Eddie did sun him. You know, it kind of feels. What do you guys say in the chat? Are they drinking tiger piss? No, they're not actually. Good question, Stinger. Good, they're not. That's actually interesting. Brendan didn't bring any fucking tiger whiskey with him. Interesting. I wonder if Joe told him, "Hey, leave that shit at home. We got plenty of whiskey. We got plenty of whiskey here." Uche is saying, yeah. Charles Lucas saying, yeah, I think sunned him. You agree with me? So Uche is saying, I'm surprised Papa gives a shout out to Mark Normans and Samuel's bourbon. Yeah, true. Oh, true. Yeah. I didn't. Oh, yeah. Is there bourbon in it? I didn't know that actually. Good point. I didn't recognize that at first. Z said if it's after the mothership discussions off air and he was there to make sense, it's not that deep. I think Brendan was just being nice. Okay, fair play, Teju. Fair play. Who else is saying here? Well, you wanted to hurt me, you got me, brother. Crashes. Brendan used to think Eddie was a kook and then had to humble himself when he found out Eddie was pretty much. Yes, cool. Exactly. That's what I find. That's what I find as well. I find that Eddie's always kind of remembered that part when Brendan used to kind of laugh at him and not laugh with him, sort of thing. So yeah, maybe I am reading too much into it, and maybe I am making it too deep. But I don't know. It just felt a little bit like a sunnage. But hey, I feel Brendan handled it well anyway. Regardless, he did handle it pretty well. So big up him for that one. Then we got another one here to play. It says, what's this title? It says Rogan and Eddie bulldoze over Brendan's conspiracy talk. Okay, let's see what this is saying. I'm eager to see what this is about as well. But yeah, it was full of little nuggets like this, actually. Loads of little awkward little bits and bobs. But like I said before at the beginning of the show, I just think all these clips, what they do highlight and illustrate is that Brendan definitely isn't as close as friends with Joe as he once was, man. That relationship is definitely kind of not the same anymore, unfortunately for him, I guess. Let's play this clip and see what this is saying.
No, what do you want to go with the chemtrails? You want to do some chemtrails?
What? Why do you think, like with the Hunter Biden file, like all the tape stuff, and they suppressed all that, right? And then you get the submarine, right? They leaked the submarine, and they knew they died, but leaked it 5 days out to suppress the Hunter Biden.
Did anybody? Like the submarine thing was?
You
like,
take it from here, John.
Okay, submarine. Yeah. What about the submarine?
I don't really give a fuck about that submarine.
Conspiracies, Eddie.
That's
Let's
what
go.
I'm saying.
I like Eddie.
You know what? Fuck the submarine.
Bag, son.
Fuck the submarine.
You're not
dog.
in the Hunter Biden stuff, though? What's
no,
up
the
with
Hunter
that?
Biden stuff is
What about the
interesting.
UFOs?
UFOs, it's prod.
Have you looked up the laptop
What's
shit?
scary is no one is facing any repercussions.
Zero.
Oh my god, man. Now we've got conspiracy theory fucking Brendan. To be fair, I did like this though. I'm not gonna lie, I did like the way they switched the cameras and had like, you know, them in their own little squares. I thought that was quite cool, to be fair. Jamie's definitely one of the better producers out there, you know, in general. I think they did pretty well with all that malarkey. I did enjoy that, but yeah. This is kind of what it was. Let's move for that one. That wasn't really that juicy, to be fair. Let's go to the next clip. Let's just rattle these off. Boom, 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 boom. Next one is there's no more comedy. There's no good comedy movies anymore. This is another thing as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fucking undercover contrarian or something. But a part of me hates these little things that they all say. Like these little sayings that they all kind of convince themselves on, you know? There's no good comedy movies. Only us comedians can make good comedy movies. So they go out and make them and it's fucking terrible. You know, everyone's getting cancelled. No one's cancelling you. It's just, we live in a consequence culture. You say dumb shit and you're working with a big production company or a big platform. They have the right to fucking kick you off if they want to. Then you can go on YouTube, but you don't want to go on YouTube because you want the Netflix money. Do you know what I mean? They all say you have these weird sayings that they just rabbit just to kind of make themselves feel good. And now this whole new thing is that there's no good comedy movies anymore. And they feel like because they talk about comedy on podcasts all the time and they do stand-up specials, they somehow feel like they have the ability to put together a good movie, which is not, you know, they think it's easy to do. Like, oh, it's easy to make a good movie. You just got to be funny. It's like, okay, you go and try. Go and try and see how easy it is to do. So anyway, this is a clip that's available now on the Fighter Kid subreddit. There's a title of it. Let's put this on and see what they say about the kind of current climate of comedy movies and how podcasters are the last hope to save cinema. Let's see what they say.
Yeah, this is the latest comedy. Dogs with human voices.
So they can't cancel actual human.
Everybody's so scared.
So scared they gotta hide behind dogs.
So scared. Comedies, man. They went away. If you think about, like, I mean, obviously the Barbie movie, but there's like 1 or 2 good comedies a year now. There used to be tons of them.
Is there even 1 or 2? Name the last. Like, what's a good comedy in the recent fucking last 6 years? Like a good comedy.
I couldn't even
like
tell
one
you.
that everybody tells you have to see. It's been like
super bad.
Super bad. The Hangover.
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids. Yeah.
Bridesmaids. Are you
Those
being
are
legit?
all loco.
Funny movie, dude.
It's a funny movie. Those are all loco comedies, though. They're wild ass comedies, which is what.
Oh, Wedding Chasers.
Wedding
right?
Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
That's like 10 years ago, bro.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it was good.
I'm drinking at 10 in the morning. I don't deserve any of the stuff I've gotten.
Honestly, the Fighter Kid subreddit guys are properly amazing. How do you add that clip at the end of fucking Bert? Please, once more. Honestly, I need to see this, man. That clip of Bert again, please. One more time. I'm sorry.
Years ago, bro.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it was good.
I'm drinking at 10 in the morning. I don't deserve any of the stuff I've gotten.
Bert Crash is like the comedy version of XQC, isn't it? Like, probably his success is very, very, you know, it's not correlated to the actual work that he does. Big up Stinger Goo. Big up for the $2 super chat, my friend.
Jamie is a poor man's chin.
Jamie is a poor man's chin. No, actually, didn't Brendan say when Chin wanted to get the job, he told Brendan that what did he say? Did he say, I'm your guy, or did he say, I'm your Jamie? I want it to be, I'm your Jamie. I want it to be that fucking sus that he told Brendan, hey, I'm your Jamie. I think he said that. I'm going to go with that narrative. I'm going to go with that fucking narrative. I'm going to run with that. I'm going to run with the fact that Chin walked up to Brendan one day, handed him a USB stick with his work on and shit, and said, I'm your Jamie. I'm your Jamie, you can be my Joe. Exactly, I'm your Huckabee. I want that to be true so badly. That's the story I'm going to run with. I'm your Jamie. Do you remember when everybody was trying to, like, the whole producer podcaster thing is kind of gone? I'm happy that they stopped being personalities, because you remember there was a period when Red Band was still around, where everyone was trying to find their own version of Red Band, like a producer personality type, but he's not really good at producing either. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of terrible at his job. He's always fucking up on Kill Tony. And then it switched when Jamie became popular, or young Jamie came to prominence, and he was a savage, right? Just doing the job well and not really wanting to be up in the camera all the time. So it's probably a good thing in general that they're not all trying to dance in front of the camera and make their own podcasts. Because that was a real dark time, innit? Do you remember that, guys? During fucking King and the Sting era, when all those producers that do King and the Sting, Chin, Cat, a few other people, I forgot the other guy, I forgot the white guy that does King and the Sting, the one that fucking the one that gambles a lot, all those guys, remember they did a podcast, they had their own little side podcast they do. Like, I think it was like Cats After Dark or something. Like, that was a dark time, man. That was a fucking dark time. Podcast producers having a podcast like about what it's like to produce podcasts for comedians. I'd rather fucking unalive myself, mate. Fuck off. Don't want none of that. Yeah, that's the guy's name, Nick. Who said Nick on the chat? Big up Crash. Yeah, it was Nick. That's the one. Exactly. Hot chip guy. Yeah, that's hot chip guy. Theo's last name. We can do a chip. Theo's got the best comedic timing ever, man. I don't want that. Like, that was so good. Anyway, let's play this one. Let's play this one. Murderers discussing how to sharpen their proverbial blades. Then B. Shorb chimes in. I love this sort of stuff, mate. Then B. Shorb chimes. Let's hear B. Shorb chiming in about how to become a smarter comic in some way, shape, or form. Let's see what this sounds like. Let's see.
Time I do a new show is because of you, because you always recorded your shows, and you would always say you gotta record your shows and listen to your shows. And damn, it's hard in the beginning when you're trying to get your shit together, dude. Listening to my shows
makes it tighter.
The first fucking 3 years is painful, because I'd go back and just cringe and go, oh, it was very hard, very hard. Just recently, just the last 6 months, now I could listen to my shows and like I'm like into it. It doesn't make me cringe as much anymore.
If you come up with something new on stage and you don't record your shows and listen to your shows, you might have a closing bit.
Yeah,
it might be your best bit ever.
Yeah. I have every show recorded. I only missed one by accident, but every show I've ever done I recorded. And those early shows were fucking. I can't. I'm afraid to go back and listen to them.
You don't have to. Just watch the more recent ones. Yeah. Listen to the more recent ones.
Joe, when did you start Zin?
A few months ago.
See what I mean? This honestly, as good as this was for Brendan to probably see Rogan, it always is a really stark reminder of just how far apart they are in terms of friendship and vibing, clicking, whatever. They don't talk as much anymore. They clearly don't talk as much. You can see it. As much as Rogan will try and pretend like they're still friends, everything's fine. Like, I don't know if he feels like he's obliged to do this because he told Brendan to quit the UFC or because he's just a really nice guy in general. But it's clear as day, these guys aren't as close friends as they once were, man. If it was me and I was Brendan, and maybe again, I'm not the best judge of this because, like I keep saying to people all the time, when this part of people get angry about, I don't have many friends and shit, and I basically keep myself to myself. So I'm not really the best judge on this, but I think if I was him, I would get this hint. I would get the hint, you know? I'd kind of get the hint. I'd kind of get the hint that Rogan isn't really cool with me like that. We're not this. It wasn't the same as it once was when we were in LA, and I'll just move on, you know? That's what I'll do. I'll just move on. It's kind of sad when it happens because I've said it before on this show. I think like friendship breakups are probably more brutal to take than relationship breakups, because there was a moment when like you were all cool, you were all fun, you were all having fun and giggling and laughing, and then suddenly it ends, especially if the person says, I don't want to be a friend anymore. It's hard to take. But I think, you know, a kind of mark of maturity and maybe growing up and whatever it may be is accepting the fact that some people just don't want to be your friends anymore and just moving on before they even tell you to move on, type of thing. That's probably the best thing to do. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a fucking redact in some random place in London talking out my fucking ass. I don't know what I'm talking about. Moving on from that, let's talk about this. This is another good clip as well to highlight. It says Papa conveniently forgets Theo when talking about Nashville. He's sad in LA. Yeah, cool. This is a good one, right? Because I feel like, in general, I'm probably one of the people that agrees with the idea that, oh no, I'm probably someone that agrees with the notion that it's probably dumb to ask people about their fucking tattoos. They're usually quite personal and shit. And usually whatever reason you have for a tattoo, even if it is personal and even if it is deep, it's never going to resonate with somebody. It's sort of like describing your dreams to somebody, right? It's a bit redundant. So I understand it's a bit difficult, but I feel like some people deserve to be questioned on their tattoos. Like, why the fuck did you get that? That was actually dumb. Because some people are just redacted. Like the same thing goes to Brendan. Like he's got two that I'm just confused about. You know, for one, the one they're going to talk about now, and the other one with his kids, you know, in the caricature of fucking dead zombies. I don't understand why that is a tattoo that would make you feel some sort of affection to your kids. It doesn't make any sense why you want your kids as fucking corpses on your body. It's just weird, right? I want to ask those questions, but you know, you're gonna get the fucking Chombi fucking story about his kids presents zombie Chombi and he went whatever nonsense. So it's quite nice to hear Rogan kind of grill him on the tattoo a little bit. But it also shows Brendan's lack of, you know, self-awareness of understanding why people would probably look at that tattoo and think it's weird and not having any like answers to kind of, you know, push back against it or justifications, because he just kind of gets a bit stunned and a bit flustered. But this clip is fucking hilarious. I didn't play it anywhere for you so you can see what I mean. There we go. Play. Come on, are you gonna play? Are you gonna play for me or not? Are you gonna play for me or not? Come on, brother. There you go.
That's like their thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Bachelorette parties and Jelly Roll. That's Nashville.
Ah, and now Theo Vaughn.
Correct, but Theo's out here a lot, right?
Yeah, he's out here
and then he's in LA all the fucking time. Like, why'd you move?
Well, you know, he's kind of like a rambling man. I just think he got bummed out by LA and he just didn't want to do it anymore. Cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah,
cheers.
I probably should have followed him.
Cheers.
Cheers. Now I'm just depressed out there.
Well, you know, a lot of people are. Nashville's a dope city, too.
Nashville's great.
Nashville's got Zanies. Like, I could have moved to Nashville.
It's got 10th Planet.
Yeah. Well, you got 10th Planet everywhere. You got 10th Planet like Dubai.
Yeah.
Don't you? Well, you got them.
Yeah.
You got one in Dubai?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I just guessed. I just guessed.
10th Planet's worldwide. But you considered Nashville, Joe?
I would have. But the thing is, like, I already had Onnit down here. I already had friends down here. Ron White was already living down here. And my family was in. They were like, I want to live here. I was like, okay. I'm like, if I can get the fuck out of LA, like, and this seems like a good one to get out of LA, and it's Texas, which I've always loved Texas.
Yeah, me too.
I just love Texas. I've always loved it. I've always loved coming here. It's like when I was like getting ready to go do a gig in Texas, I was like, oh, we're gonna have some fun. We're going to Texas. It's like, it's fun.
I have a Texas tattoo,
place.
for God's sake.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know, dude.
Why
do you have a dragon?
What happened?
Oh, I thought you were making fun of me.
No,
but like
I thought
Texas
there was like a
tattoo,
reason.
it's the only state when I started stand up I've never not sold out Texas. Every single show I do, I sell out in Texas. I love Texas.
That's why you got that tattoo?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, Houston's good, man.
What a bizarre thing to do. But again, this guy is really bizarre when it comes to Brendan. He's the same guy that would, you know, he named his kid Boston and he has no connection with the state. And then he tried to, what did he try to say about it? Why was it? Because they both love Boston or something, but they never go there. He never talks about visiting there. He's from Denver. And then my assumption was that most likely he named his kid Boston because of fucking Rogan, because Rogan's from there. Oh, Boston's not a state. What is it? Is that Michigan or Massachusetts? Am I getting it wrong? Shit. Where's Boston? Where's Boston? Boston's not a state. I thought it was a state. What is Boston? Is it Massachusetts? What is it? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. What is it? What's Boston? Boston is a seat in Massachusetts. Yeah, cool. Okay, there we go. I got it right the first. I got it wrong, but then I corrected myself. So it is Massachusetts. Okay, cool. So I find it really Boston is in Africa. Boston, Botswana. Boston, the township in Africa. Boston, the state, the state. Anyway, I found it really funny that how, you know, that would happen that way. But then it makes sense anyway. Like I said, he's the same guy that would name his kid Boston. No connection to Boston, makes no sense. Because I think even Denver for a kid is a pretty nice name, right? For a son. If you're from there, like Denver's not too bad of a name. Denny, Denver, whatever maybe. But Boston just for a kid who's not from there is just bizarre. So it's not surprising he did the whole fucking Texas tattoo thing. But it's funny now because I don't think the whole Texas thing is true. He says he always sells out Texas, but I don't think that's actually true. So now he's got a tattoo of himself of a city, sorry, not a state, that he doesn't sell out in all the time and doesn't live in. But the funny bit, the bit that actually fucking hurt my soul a little bit for Brendan was that the clip of it started with him kind of insulting Theo by saying this, right? Earlier on in the clip. He kind of insults Theo in a roundabout way.
Like their thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Bachelorette parties and Jelly Roll. That's Nashville.
Ah, and now Theo Vaughn.
Correct, but Theo's out here a lot, right?
Yeah, he's out here
and then he's in LA all the fucking time. Like, why'd you move?
So obviously he's trying to like insult Theo to Joe, but he doesn't know that Joe is like a kind of a sincere person. So he doesn't believe in like, you know, negging his friends. Like Brendan's got a weird thing with Theo where he overly negs him when he's not in front of him. Like to other people, he talks like, you know, he mentions fucking Theo's addiction. To, you know, because he's in recovery for cocaine addiction. He talks about him having issues mentally all the time. But Rogan doesn't play that game. So Rogan kind of just like, you know, answers it in a sincere and earnest way.
Well, you know, he's kind of like a rambling man. I just think he got bummed out by LA and he just didn't want to do it anymore. Cheers.
And then this bit really hurts my soul for Brendan because Brendan then tries to, you know, say he's bummed out in LA and like, you know, as a weird invitation for Rogan to say, because Rogan does this all the time in the past, right? With podcasts, he'd be like, yeah, man, you should start a podcast. You should start a podcast. He would encourage everybody to start podcasts. So maybe in the beginning, also, if you remember, he was telling everybody to move to Texas. But I guess now he's at a point where he stopped telling people to move to Texas because probably everybody kept, you know, asking for favors and shit. So I feel like Brendan was trying to basically prod, you know, Rogan to get him to say that to him. Like, hey, you should move here, man. What are you doing? What are you doing out in LA? You should come here and join us. But he doesn't.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah, I probably should have followed him.
Cheers.
Cheers. Now I'm just depressed out there.
Well, you know, A lot of people are.
Well, you know, a lot of people are. And then just moves on straight away.
Nashville's a dope city too.
Nashville's great.
Nashville's got zanies. Like,
just completely moves over it. And then the other bit that was really brutal, of course, was the tattoo fucking breakdown, right? Like, you got the tattoo, why?
I've always loved coming here. It was like when I was like getting ready to go do a gig in Texas, I was like, oh, we're gonna have some fun. We're going to Texas. It's like, it's fun.
I have a Texas tattoo,
place.
for God's sake.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know, dude.
Why
Why do you have a dragon?
No, but what happened?
Oh, I thought you were making fun of me.
No,
but like
I
a
thought there
Texas
was like a
tattoo.
reason.
It's the only state when I started stand up I've never not sold out Texas. Every single show I do, I sell out in Texas. I love Texas.
That's why you got that tattoo?
Yeah.
Oh. It's such a silly reason to get a tattoo, but bless Brendan, man. Fucking bless him. Z saying lies. I don't know if it's a lie. I just think it's fucking sad that he tried to, you know, get in Joe's good graces by also parroting the Texas is amazing line. Then tried to get Joe to tell him to come down to Texas as well. He didn't bite. And then tried to then mention the tattoo, and Joe thought that was silly. Like he just tried to throw as many things as possible at Rogan, but he just wasn't having it. I find that fucking hilarious. And then what else are we talking about here? Oh, this is a bit of a wild one too, isn't it? This one's a wild one. I think this is maybe, I don't know when this happened on the show because I haven't watched all of it just yet. I don't know what stage of the show this happened, but I got a feeling Brendan said this when he was maybe towards the end, because I feel like Brendan was noticing that the show wasn't going his way. Like, you know, he wasn't maybe clicking with the guys like he did in the past, and he was trying too hard to be liked and shit. So then he tried to do the thing what people do where you just like, you know, you're panicking and you just start saying stuff because you just want to get people interested in you again, right? You want them to like you again. So he admitted something he probably shouldn't have admitted, right? He probably shouldn't have this be common knowledge to people because, you know, it's just not the most, you know, safest thing to be saying aloud on the fucking podcast. But hey, whatever. Brendan is fucking Chief Keef out here. This is Papa makes a stunning dumb admission, right? Let's play this clip.
My shit was fucking done.
Time to move to Texas. Get yourself a gun. You'll carry.
Oh, I got guns, dog. I got guns.
You don't have them in your car though?
No.
I carry them.
I did that for a while during like the height of all the bullshit. But I felt like, damn, if I get like pulled over and they could throw me in jail.
I'll take my chances. Like when I'm doing sets at LA at night, I always have it with me.
Shh. Cut that out, Danny.
In Texas. When I'm in Texas.
In LA at night when I'm in Texas.
LA, Texas, dog.
What a weird thing to admit. Again, just wanting to flex and kind of, you know, seem like you're down with Rogan. Now he's Mr. Gunman. It's fucking amazing, man. But I got, you know, sympathy for the guy because I feel like this may have happened at a time where he felt like he was flailing and, you know, no one was paying him attention. So let me throw out some bait there. Let me throw out some, you know, relatability stuff out there. Agree with them on the gun thing. Say I have, you know, say I'm strapped up in the Porsche so everyone knows what gun it is. So yeah, Papa stays strapped just in case someone from PF Chang's rolls up and tries to say something to him in person. He's going to fucking blam them out of the fucking sky. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Brendan one day, like, he gets accosted by who's that guy? Who's my guy? Like is it Songbird? Something Songbird, the guy that's like redacted. Imagine that guy rocks up to Brendan one day and tries to fucking 10-7 him or something. And then Brendan just pulls out the blammy, just shoots him in the face. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Gunbird. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Gunbird. Imagine he just blams him. That would be fucking hilarious. Actually, I wonder where I would fall. I don't think he'd want to blam me. Do you think Brendan would want to blam me? I don't think so. I wonder where I'd be in terms of the level of blamming. Like if it was a tier list, or if it was like if it went from 1 to 10, who would be number 1 in terms of Brendan's person that he would want to blam? Probably Unique, innit? Maybe Unique. I wouldn't say Red Bar. Should I say Red Bar? I don't think Red Bar. Probably Unique first. And then who? I don't know who'd be second, actually. I don't think you want to blame me second. I might come in like 6th or 8th. Maybe, right? Maybe it's, oh yeah, BGL. Yeah, Trisha G. BGL. I forgot about him. BGL. Era Hawani. Yeah, top 3. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Stingagu. Yes, exactly. Song in Unique for sure. BGL second. Ariel Hawani third. Annie Liederman won't be top 5, I don't think. No. Trash Tuesdays. No, Josie. I don't think he hates Annie Liederman like that. I don't think it'll be top 3. Yeah, Gavin Newsom, yeah. Gavin Newsom, aka Kim Jong-un. Yeah, Kalila maybe. Also, I don't think Kalila. He probably still wants to fuck Kalila. I can't think, man. Top 5, but yeah. Unique for sure, number 1. BGL. And then who's the other one? Ariel Hawani for sure. Maybe Nate Diaz. Yeah, maybe Nate Diaz. Maybe Nate Diaz. Oh yeah, Sean McCorkle. Jorge Taranda. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Jorge Torado. Yes, you're right there. Definitely Sean McCorkle. He's definitely number 4. Beige Frequency. That's a good one, isn't it? Beige Frequency. Yeah, I think those are good top 5. That one. That's a good top 5. Unique. BGL. Who's the other one? Unique, BGL. Who's the other one we said as a top 3? Unique, BGL, Ariel, Sean McCorkle, and then what's his face? Dana. Yeah, Dana. Yeah, Dana has to be a top 5. Yes, Dana. Dana, Sean McCorkle, BGL, Ariel Hawani, Unique. That's a pretty big 5. And then I think the rest of us will come after. Me, Too Ladies to Try. The 10 Minutes of SCHAUB'S guys. Who else? Redbar probably don't, because I don't think he probably give a shit about Redbar. Redbar doesn't really talk about him that much. Yeah, all of us channels will come in after all those guys, I think. We'll be the other half. Right? We'll be the other half. Oh, brother, I fucking love it. Anyway, moving on. We got this clip. Courtesy again of the Fire and the Kid. Let's get this up on the screen. It says smoked sprint. Let's see this one. Trisha G, Mexican's mum, for putting him in debt with that fucking house he had to. Honestly, I want to believe the narrative. I want to believe the narrative in any facet, as these guys say. I love how Brennan and his wife tend to fucking overuse and incorrectly use facet in the sentences. It's fucking amazing. But as Brennan would say, I want to believe the narrative in any facet, right? That Brendan did buy that house for his wife's mum because he got caught cheating. That's what I want to believe, because of the whole baddies and addies thing. But the actual truth of it is probably he's the most luckiest man in the world. At the same time, BGL was exposing all these DMs with the addies and baddies. They're already kind of in the last stages of putting together the fucking deal of buying the house. Because you don't just buy a house like you're buying fucking toilet paper, right? In the supermarket. You have to go, it's a fucking long process. So most likely they're already doing it anyway, but it happened to coincide, perfect timing, with him getting exposed with the addies and baddies shit. Like, he got so lucky. That's the most, but it's also one of the most insane things to do for you to kind of protect yourself because you got caught cheating. I'd rather just break up. I'm not going to pay for a fucking house so you can forgive me. Fuck that. I'd rather just break up. You know what I mean? That's fucking insane, man. That's fucking insane. But, you know, maybe long term it was smart, because what would you rather do? Like, try and live your life alone, trying to look after kids and shit and all that malarkey, and paying fucking alimony or child support, or just, you know, take the big hit, buy your mother-in-law a house, and then just keep it moving, you know? Oh, fucking incredible. Anyway, moving on. This is an interesting clip as well, because it features the Fire and the Kid in a new temporary studio. I guess because they were out, maybe in Texas, and they went to film something, and they ended up filming a 38-minute podcast. I don't know why they bothered, really, to be fair, but whatever show they're on in terms of their studio, the fucking quality of the camera and how everything's set up, even though it's all cluttered, is really interesting to see the kind of, you know, the difference in quality levels of these podcasts. So let's play this clip anyway and see what they're saying.
A little bit, because I'll see, like, there's a picture of you and GSP on the, you know, that.
And his cats are bigger.
Yeah, he's got those great teardrop things, and you're there.
Yeah,
you're there.
You must smoke them sprinting, right? Right?
Did you sprint against GSP?
Smoked them, right?
You faster than G?
I don't know why you put me in this situation.
I'm asking questions.
Yeah, when you question my stuff.
Still makes me laugh to this day, man. Still makes me laugh.
Let's go, Chappelle!
It still makes me laugh. Brendan was so fucking, has such an ego that he couldn't lose the race to Chappelle. So because he felt a slight bit of cramp, he then pretended he blew out both his hamstrings and kept up the lie after the fact. Was on crutches, taking pictures and shit, like, it's honestly, like, this is just everything that's kind of wrong with Brendan, isn't it? Just the inability to just even lose a race with grace and just say, look, I lost the race. But then pulling the fake hamstrings, Brian giving him that look where he knows he's fucking lying. Like, Brian knows his guy is full of shit. He knows it. He knows he's full of shit. But allegedly, Brendan pulled both his hamstrings. Absolute crazy. Yeah, exactly. Zero, or as he says, zero humility. Ridiculous, mate. Absolutely ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of embarrassing being a former professional athlete, having played allegedly in the NFL, and obviously being a former UFC fighter. It's embarrassing to get blown out in a race by a guy that used to be a professional gymnast and shit, or cheerleader, sorry, and now is in a band or whatever it may be. I know it's embarrassing, clearly, but still, part of the fun is that you're just racing your friend in Chappelle, right? Just race your friend, say you fucking didn't do it well, and it didn't go well, and Chappelle's got a good, you know, what do you call it, fast twitch, whatever it may be, and he's just, you know, naturally maybe got some pace to him, who knows, but whatever, just take on a chin. It's a fun event. But the guy, you know, had an ego before the race itself, thought he was going to blitz fucking Chappelle. They then end up racing, it doesn't go his way, and because he realizes it's not going his way, he then pretends to blow out his hamstring. That's what is a really shocking thing. You can see the moment in the race where he realizes he's not going to win, and instead of losing, he pulls up just before the finishing line. Horrendous. Look at this. Oh, I keep skipping. Let's go back one more time.
Let's go, Chappelle! Let's go, Chappelle!
Who's that person in the background, basically? Who's that? Who's that? Let's go, Chappelle. Who's that?
Let's go, Chappelle!
This guy, man. And then the best bit is this, because I feel like that could be a logo. That could replace, like, you put that on a t-shirt or a hat, replace the fucking NBA logo of the person jumping, and replace this with this kind of pose. That could fucking work. That could honestly work as a pose. That fucking silhouette of this bent over. That could literally work as a little, as a on a snapback, on a fucking hoodie, on a t-shirt. That's a fucking legendary logo. Oh, fucking hell. Anyways, let's move on quickly. Let's go to this. Let's see this. What is this one? Nope, not that one. Let's move. What are you guys saying in the chat? He thinks use of alcoholism and burgers and diets, coke won't affect his athleticism after he reaches 40. Exactly, Assad. Trisha G says, I'm surprised he didn't say his big dick. Exactly. That's, oh my God, Trish, that's actually a very good point. I'm actually surprised he didn't mention something about, oh, the big dick, his piece, all this stuff in it. This race. That's actually a really good point. My dick was flapping in the wind, it was slowing me down. I need to tie it down or something. Like, true. Anyway, let's continue. This one's the best one, right? Because Brendan now is kind of playing into the whole Jorge Masvidal proposing him to fight Derrick Lewis bare knuckle MMA style in his fight promotion. He's now playing into it, obviously for the clicks and shit, and because it's become its own little story. But there are some people out there who genuinely want him to fight Derrick Lewis because they want to see him get starched again. I'm not one of those people. I don't want to see Brendan get starched. But a part of me also wants to see him fight Derrick Lewis just because he legitimately, I feel like, if you asked him in secret, I feel like he would say he thinks he could beat Derrick Lewis. Like, legitimately. He's been out of the UFC for however long. You know, his grappling and wrestling was never super high level anyway. And I think he honestly does think, if you was to ask him with no cameras around, he honestly definitely does think he could beat him. So a part of me would want him to face Derrick Lewis just so he could be reminded that there's levels to this shit, right? But, you know, in terms of being a nice person, I don't want to see him get into an octagon with a guy who just fucking, you know, took the teeth out of some dude the other day. You know what I mean? Derrick Lewis is at the top of his game. I don't want to see that. But when he lies the way he does in this clip, it makes you think, this is the reason why people don't like you, man. As the title says, this is the reason why people don't like you, brother. Like, why lie about the entire thing when it's all on camera, recorded? And I'm not too sure, again, where I stand with this stuff. Is Brendan lying? Or is he so redacted he legitimately has the memory of a goldfish and he doesn't remember what he said the other day? Or he doesn't remember what actually happened? And he just kind of reinterprets it and kind of writes it in his head at all times. Like, what's going on here? Because the way he's describing what happened and what actually happened is crazy.
Dogs. But then recently he was trying to get me to take a fight, and then he even called my manager. I was like, hey bud, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, he was talking about it on the podcast, so he is serious. He is serious about you fighting bare knuckle MMA.
It started off as a joke when Jorge came on, and Jorge's like, well, we want to offer you a fight. I'm like, it's not happening, dude. And we're just joking around. I was like, I'll fight another comedian. I'll fight Louis C.K. or Tim Dillon, like joking around, right? And he's like, no. He's like, Derrick Lewis, a free agent. And Brian's like, oh, Derrick Lewis. I'm like, I'm not. Are you out of your fucking bare knuckle with Derrick Lewis? Are you out of your fucking mind?
I'm like, you got this, bro. You got this.
No, you need to distract my opponent. The free agents, I'm sure as fuck not fighting Verdum or JDS, bro.
No.
You can keep that, dude.
I heard Derrick Lewis is a free agent too.
Oh, that's right.
Let's find somebody.
But you allow grappling and everything.
Yeah, it's MMA.
Come on, bro.
It's MMA.
I wouldn't say no to Derrick Lewis if I can grapple.
Ooh, wait.
What the fuck?
Derrick Lewis debut in my promotion versus Brandon Shaw.
Come on, man. You know how many people would?
Hey, do you understand that people's heads are just fucking exploding?
Dude,
so he actually is the one who said he could actually do it. You see, like, the way he describes the story is fucking bizarre because what he actually said was very, very different, right? Go back again one more time.
Distract my opponent. The free agents, I'm sure as fuck not fighting Verdum or JDS, bro.
No.
You can keep that, dude.
I heard Derrick Lewis is a free agent too.
Oh, that's right.
Let's find somebody.
But you allow grappling and everything.
Yeah, it's MMA.
Come on, bro.
It's MMA.
I wouldn't say no to Derrick Lewis if I can grapple.
Ooh.
Wait.
What the fuck?
Derrick Lewis debut in my promotion versus Brandon Shaw.
Come on, man. You know how many people would?
Do you understand that people's
He actually, like, don't get me wrong, it would be fucking incredible if he did fucking knock out Derrick Lewis. Imagine he would fucking break the internet if he came back after being out of the sport for however many years he's been out of it, right? 10 years, 8 years, whatever it's been. And in the first fight he does fight, he ends up fucking flatlining Derrick Lewis. Just imagine how much the internet would be fucking in uproar if that happened. That would be fucking incredible. I'd love to see it. I'd fucking love to see it. What you guys saying in the chat? He changed his tone because Joe said he bet on Derrick. So Papa agrees. Exactly. Well, BJ was saying he he's about to not be able to pay his employees for 4 months, so maybe that's the reason his fight talks. Oh yeah, true. Uche putting together the fucking joining the dots. Yeah, I like that. That's actually a good point. That's actually a good point. Nate got 500,000 to fight Paul. Paul got 2.2 million. Yeah, we saw that already when the thing, but I think they're saying it might be more. But let's not. We don't know. Yeah, Brendan's a mad guy, man. But I think that delusion. I like how that delusion he has in life is just the delusion he has in comedy extends to every part of his life. Do you know what I mean? He generally believes these things, like, and that's the thing. The thing I'm thinking that's really interesting about Brendan with this fight thing is that he's not even one of those like fighters who like GSP still trains now, right? Or other people who've maybe retired recently. They're still in the gym. They're still maybe hitting mitts and shit. Brendan does nothing. Like, you know, maybe he doesn't like the sport anymore, but he does zero. He doesn't roll. He doesn't. You know, he's not out there grappling. He's not taking part in grappling competitions or wrestling competitions. He's not doing anything. He just completely quit. Once he was out of the UFC, he didn't do anything else. So for him to think he can go from that to going back into the UFC or doing MMA after filling his body up with fucking Food Truck Diary stuff and, you know, whiskey, it'd actually be way more of an embarrassment to Derrick Lewis if he actually let Brendan beat him. That's actually the thing. Derrick Lewis has probably more to lose, you know? Think about it. Everybody expects Derrick Lewis to starch Brendan, but Derrick Lewis has a lot to lose. If Brendan takes him in the deep waters, for instance, and does actually have really good grappling and subs him or something, it would make Derrick look horrible. If this guy who's been podcasting for all these years, just got up and decided to train for a couple of months and then tapped him, that would be so embarrassing for Derrick Lewis. So maybe he doesn't do it because of that. He's got too much to lose, you know? What are you guys saying? North Street is saying, I don't think Schaub has it in him to train for the fight anymore, like to fully commit. Maybe I'm wrong though. It's a pro athlete. Muscle memory is a thing. No, it definitely is a thing. But I also agree with you. I just don't think Brendan, again, being a fan of the pod from early and understanding kind of how Brendan is a little bit, I always got the impression he never ever wanted to fight. He just ended up fighting in UFC because the NFL dream didn't work out. And he always said how much it crushed him. He didn't become a pro because all his friends were pro. It was something that he was looking to do since he was a kid and it never worked out. But then because the UFC was so new at the time, he was able to kind of, you know, maybe jump a few steps because he had a good athletic base from playing football all those years and lacrosse and all that, whatever shit he used to play. And back then the skill level wasn't as high as it is now. So you could get by with just pure athleticism and size and shit, which he obviously had. And obviously the heavyweight division has always been kind of, you know, thin on the ground in terms of bodies. So it's made sense why he was able to kind of, you know, prosper in that regard. But he never ever liked fighting, I don't think. I don't think Brendan's a violent guy the same way that maybe other people maybe think he is. So it's not surprising that when he did quit, he quit. He completely turned his back on everything. He didn't go back and train, which is what makes it really funny that he got that black belt recently. Because his kid thought he had a black belt, so he went to his old gym and just got a black belt. Like, it's just odd. But he doesn't roll, doesn't do anything. So I'm not surprised because, you know, he never really struck me as somebody that actually enjoyed fighting. So, you know, to suddenly now, even when you are in dire straits and you need the money, to suddenly now go into a camp of like 6 weeks more to fight fucking the Black Beast is like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, that's very, very crazy. But I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe he does actually need the money. He does it. MMA approaches a Schaub. Yeah, Schaub acts like he's a Damian Maya or something with the grappling. Yeah, exactly. Damian Maya. The watcher says, I love Derrick Lewis. I was waiting for him to lose because he's been on a losing streak. Him winning saved me from depression for like 2 days. If Brendan somehow catches him in chaos. Exactly. People love Derrick Lewis. I love him too. I think everybody went in to win the last fight. We didn't think it was going to win it that way. So imagine if Brendan does actually end up catching him with a fucking, you know, with a massive looping overhand right. Or he manages to get his back somehow. Like, everyone will be crying. Everybody would be crying online. Derrick would never lose, never. Wolfgang, fair enough. Assad says, remember his story about watching UFC with his dad and being his dream since he was a kid. Honestly, it's incredible because I'm sure if you wanted to, I don't have the time and I'm not bothered to do it, but I'm sure if you did have the time and you were bothered, you could go into the archives of the original T-Fat-K, and you could find episodes of Brendan really talking down on like fighting, like act, like saying, like I remember even maybe before certain fight cards when he used to shave his head before he fought and stuff, you'd see him like he used to sound really depressed. He never used to look forward to his fights, so he never liked it from the beginning. It was just like a paycheck to, it was just something to do, right? It's a paycheck. So for him to suddenly then get on stage on This Is Not Happening, or that show that fucking Ari did, whatever it's called, This Is Not Happening, and then paint this whole story that it was always his dream to be a champion in the UFC is fucking insane. Like, I love it. I love how often he does that, where he just kind of rewrites his own history in real time. It's fucking great, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of my favorite things that he does. I always wanted to be that person, always. Moving on. Actually, yep, I gotta go soon, unfortunately. Make sure that you are smashing the fucking stream like button for me if you are enjoying the show, please. That'd be much appreciated. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're loving it. Let me know that you're not loving it. Either way, make sure you're hitting that button for the engagement. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let's watch a couple more. Let's see. What should we watch here? Yeah, let's go this one. Bear with me a second as I load it. This is one. If there's one thing Bappa needs, is more vices. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. This is a good one because this was always coming. Brendan went to fucking Joe Rogan's fucking podcast. They started smelling bath salts, or it's not bath salts, sorry, smelling salts, because that's Rogan's new thing now, to stay awake for comedy and for podcasts and shit. And then I guess Brendan saw him doing it, and now all of a sudden, Brendan Schaub is the fucking, you know, what's it called? He's now the smelling salts guy. So he came back on the Schaub show and kind of spoke about it in glowing terms. So let me see it. Play the video here. It's a pretty cringy video, I'm not going to lie, but it does make a lot of sense in it. Brendan is the person that just ingests everything. So let's see what he says here about the smelling salts.
I'd watch it all day.
Yeah, but so the salts, I saw you doing the taking it.
Oh, and also Chin has got a boner. This feels like the same. This feels like the same thing happened when Chin found out about Kratom. I think did he find out about Kratom from Brendan or something? I don't know. When Chin was talking about Kratom for the first time on the podcast, especially on Fire and the Kid, you got the feeling that he was going to get addicted to it. Now I think he does Kratom every day. So I think it's the same thing for these smelling salts. You're going to see fucking Chin do a vlog of smelling salts very soon.
Juju Mufu's.
I don't know.
He sent me a bunch. I love it.
And also, so stop the clip again. But of course Brendan would say that. Of course he would slip in the name drop of Juju Mufu. And maybe because he's the only one that makes them, who knows? But also the fact that he sent him some personally. So between him going to Texas and coming back home, Juju managed to overnight ship a packages of fucking smelling salts directly to Brendan's house. And he name dropped it in an instant. He didn't even try and say, yeah, I've got some, I'll bring you some in. Like being modest and humble. No, name drop instantly. Instant name drop. It's almost like magic the way he does it.
But I mean, so does it affect? Because remember we did the one chip challenge where it affects you like crazy and it's hardcore.
No, this is it hits you like a fucking ton of bricks, and then it's just you're awake. And my sinuses were cleared. I could breathe. He sent some to the crib.
Juju, you should bring it here.
I'm going to. Juju sent to me. I'm bringing some to the crib because I was like, oh, I want more. I did 2 or 3 times at Rogan's. He's like, you shouldn't do it too many times. Like, well, shut your mouth. I loved it.
That'd be awesome. Let's all try
I loved it. It's so intense. It burnt like
I have no idea.
You
what
know,
to
like a
expect.
wasabi, like
yeah,
when that it's an intense wasabi. It's just like boom.
Yeah, in your
it's
nose.
like that. But it goes away quick.
I like that. That it goes away quick.
I was so bored during the no shade on Corey Sandy. I was so bored during that fight, and I was, I didn't sleep much, and then we were drinking. I was tired. I'm like, give me some of that smelling salt to wake me up for this Jake Paul fight, and I was crunk, dude.
And it doesn't affect you for the rest of the day? Just that one time?
It's a quick hit, like 10 seconds.
Dude, let's do it here.
And then you're awake. I've never breathed better in my life.
That's even cool.
I was like focused. I loved it.
The guy that nearly destroyed all his teeth because of the amount of nicotine pouches he put in his mouth is now suddenly going to be Mr. Smelling Salts guy. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. And I love the little diss but not a diss by saying that Corey Sanderhagen's fight was so boring he needed to take the smelling salts. Like, you gotta love this guy, innit? Like, always a beast of a guy. Exactly. Uche said he'll be doing poppers by next week. If he discovers crackers burn, wasabi burns like a motherfucker. Exactly. 40 years old and just getting into drugs and substances. Exactly. 40 years old with 2 kids, 1 more on the way, and he's discovering all these things he should be ingesting and taking. It's fucking embarrassing, man. Was it? Just do some coke or ket, you fucking dorks. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Dundada. Smelling salts, addies, whiskey, the Bapas people. Oh, honestly, man. Well, honestly, if he discovers crackers, game over. Yo, it's just a funny dude, isn't it? He's a funny dude, of course. But I just love the name dropping. Don't you love the subtle name dropping? He sent some to the crib. He sent me some. Like, why didn't you get him to send it to the office? Why didn't you send it to the office? Why would you send them to the crib directly? Overnight, in like 2 days, between you going to Rogan and coming back, like you suddenly got a whole package full of smelling salts. Like, and then he DM'd you, right? He DM'd you. He sent them to you. Like, come on, man. All right. Maybe he did. I'm just saying, it's funny that he runs to name dropping so quickly. He doesn't even try to like be somewhat humble, modest, whatever. It doesn't exist. It's like, yeah, straight away. Yeah, he sent me some directly to my house. I got them to my crib. Chin, you should bring them here. You should bring them here. One more time.
Shit all day.
Yeah, but so the salts, I saw you doing taking it.
I think Juju Mufu's.
I don't know.
He sent me a bunch. I love it.
But I mean, so does it affect? Because remember we did the 1 chip challenge where it affects you like crazy and it's hardcore.
No, this is it hits you like a fucking ton of bricks, and then it's just you're awake. And my sinuses were cleared. I could breathe. He sent some to the crib. Juju,
you should bring it here.
I'm going to. Juju sent to me. I'm bringing some to the crib because I was like, oh, I want more. I did 2 or 3 times at Rogan's. He's like, you shouldn't do it too many times. Like, well, shut your mouth. I loved it.
That'd be awesome. Let's all try.
Yeah, I loved it. It's so intense. It burnt like
I have no idea.
You
what
know,
to
like a
expect.
wasabi. Like when that it's an intense wasabi. It's just like boom.
Yeah, in your
it's
nose.
like that. But it goes away quick.
I like that. That it goes away quick.
I was so bored during no shade on Corey Sandy. I was so bored during that fight, and I was, I didn't sleep much, and then we were drinking. I was tired. I'm like, give me some of that smelling salt to wake me up for this Jake Paul fight, and I was crunk, dude.
And it doesn't affect you for the rest of the day? Just that one time?
It's a quick hit, like 10 seconds.
Dude, let's do it here.
And then you're awake. I've never breathed better in my life.
That's even cool.
I was like focused. I loved it.
Look at his little face. Honestly, man, bless the guy, man. He fucking loves it. No shade. Oh, fucking hell, man. Honestly, if Joe said exactly Z. If Joe said eating your own crap is a new thing, he'd do it. Of course, 100%. It's like that skit, that little bit that Chris said about Brendan and Joe about what they would do absolutely anything. It's very, very true. With I think Will Sasso, it's a really funny one actually. Brandon's dumb guy. What a dummy. Let's 10 points every day and monetize it. Yeah, big up Wuhan Institute of Virology. Brandon's a dumb guy. What a dummy. Let's make fun of him for 10 more years. Every day monetize it. Yeah, mate, we might as well, man. We're on the spinning ball for a short amount of time. If we're gonna monetize laughing at somebody, then Brendan's a good fucking option, I think. Good for the soul, good for the wallet. Nunya says, man, Brendan's alright, honestly. He's no worse than any other motherfucker that's been gripped by this life. Sure, he sued Unique, but bro, there's so much worse guys than Brendan in this space, if we're honest. Yeah, probably, but I don't know. I've got limited bandwidth in it. I only know of him really, so I'll just focus on that, to be honest. I don't really know of any, but I'm sure there are many others that are out there, but I don't have. There's not much space in my RAM for locals. I've already got Wings. I've got fucking Brendan. I've got DSP. Who else are my locals? That's basically it. That's basically all my local space. I was on the whole merch thing for a bit, but that guy's just, it's just pathetic. It's just not really my thing. It's too degenerative. It's too degenerate-esque vibe, those type of dudes. But yeah, I've kind of gone off of that. Anyways, that is where I have to kind of end it for you guys right now. It is, like I said, it's gonna be a quick one, but I'll do a long one another time, go through some more bits. I think they're gonna do a show soon, innit? So I'll be able to go over some bits of that. If there's anything worthy of speaking about, I'll do that on that one. So I'll leave you guys for now. But thank you for tuning in, as per usual. Random show episode, I think number 134, innit? I think it's 134. Yeah, it is 134. So thank you for tuning in. If you're just arrived or if you're here still, please make sure you like the stream for me before you leave. That'd be greatly appreciated, please. But yeah, man, like the stream, all that good stuff, that'd be appreciated. And yeah, man, it's been a great time seeing you here again, and I'll see you all again very, very soon, right? Very soon I'll see you all again. So big up everybody. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll be back again very, very soon. Make sure you like the stream before you leave. Like. Thank you, Josie. Appreciate you. Thank you, Sour. Thank you, Ricky Bobby, Crash. Big up MK. Big up Sour. Big up Tricia, of course. Big up Uche. My G. Big up you. Who else is here? Big up Casey. Who else I see here? KP already mentioned. Jesse L, I see you as well. Big up you. Big up Dun Dotter. Big up you, or as always, the Watcher. Big up Asad Aziz again. Big up you. Stinger Good, I was here earlier. Big up you. And Wolfgang Rittner, big up you as well. Good to see you, my friend. And Bird on the Wire. Many of you here on the list. Jose Otero. Big up everybody that was hanging in there. I appreciate all of you for hanging. And I'll see you all again very soon.